Alright, good afternoon our dear parents. Nako, talaga po palang this afternoon, it will be a very intimate session, ano? Kasi po, I understand there are other parents who won't be able to make it this afternoon. Pero good news is, actually, if you can see, upon entering the meeting link, you were notified that our session is recorded. So, maganda po na ang kagandahan lang naman po na maka-attend sila dito ng ng live na family onboarding is ma-accommodate namin yung mga questions nyo if you have any questions that you have in any questions that you have in mind, mas ma-entertain po namin and mas masasagot po namin on the spot. So, welcome everybody. Mas madami po ang ating attendees kaninang morning kasi nga po ito po ay mula grades 1 to 6. So, it was a successful one. We thank God for His provision kasi we were able to present to our dear parents the overview and the things that are to be expected here in our Play Sagradan program. So, let's proceed po our dear parents. So, before we show you the overview of what's gonna be discussed for this afternoon session, let me call Teacher Kay to lead us in prayer. Teacher Kay.
So before we start, let us pray first. Let's bow our heads and let's pray. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Holy and Heavenly Father, you are worthy of all our praises. You reign in majesty above us and are our Lord forever. We thank you for allowing us to be graced by your presence every week. Heavenly Father, as we go into this meeting, we place ourselves before you, for you are filled with beauty and light and care deeply about us. Help us to value and appreciate those we are gathered with. May your light enfold us, may your spirit guide us, and may your grace abound in us. We ask for your provision in the matters, and may you grant us with your wisdom so that we would understand all the learnings from this meeting. Lord, we are created by your power, redeemed by your love, and strengthened by your Spirit. We give ourselves into your service, and may we love you and love others with all our hearts. We ask all of this through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Thank you so much, Teacher Kay. So, actually, it's supposed to be Teacher Chris who is to do the welcome remarks. However, meron lang po siyang errands this afternoon, but she was able to talk with our parents this morning. So, again, welcome. For an update lang po, no, I just assume and we expect that everyone who is here with us today was able to watch our June 6 presentation. Yun po yung ating first part. Kasi po, actually, yung pong presentation namin na yun ay yun yung magiging parang deciding point. We gave our parents some, yun nga po, an overview of what's to expect, pero hindi pa ganun kadetalyado, unlike po nung onboarding natin ngayon, wherein we're gonna discuss with you, our dear parents, the technicalities. Our hands are getting, our hands will get dirty at this time. Pag-uusapan na po natin ang step-by-step na magiging procedure ng inyong homeschooling journey with your children dito sa MDSF. So again, maraming salamat po in behalf of our institution. Taos puso namin pinasasalamatan ang bawat isa sa inyo for your continuous support doon sa mga programs ng school. Ang kagandahan naman din po, actually ako rin po personally as the program head, I was not expecting that there will be enrollees, most especially coming from yung mga junior CASA at saka advanced CASA, pero talaga pong natutuwa kami dahil meron pa rin pong mga parents talaga na mas gusto pa rin nilang bigyan ng routine ang kanilang mga anak during this pandemic. Kasi nga po, as we all know, pag JCAC, no, masyado pa siyang bata. So they're thinking of, just staying at home or basta siguro wala na lang munang routine, pag na lang bumalik ulit, tsaka na lang bigyan. Pero dahil po sa mga dedicated na mga parents, just like you, our dear parents, talaga pong you chose to still, enroll your child into such program, kahit po yung homeschool program po natin. So again, maraming salamat po. Teacher Bridge, can you please go to the next slide? Okay, just to give you an overview of what's gonna be discussed for this afternoon. So first, I'm gonna tackle about the overview of the enrollment procedure para makita po natin kung nasaan na po tayo doon sa ating enrollment. And then I will also be personally discussing the learning styles of children. I will be explaining why it's important for us to identify the learning styles of our children. Bakit ba kailangan? Ba't kailangan pa nating malaman yung iba't ibang learning styles na yan? And then my wonderful team here will be discussing with you, our dear parents, the step-by-step procedure of homeschooling in MDSF. So how is it really to homeschool in the Montessori de Sagrada Familia? Kasi as we were able to discuss with you, our dear parents, during the June 6 parent orientation, dun po namin pinaliwanag yung difference ng home-based and yung homeschool. So yung home-based po, yun po yung fly and safe, at yung homeschool naman po, yun po yung play. So basically, ang difference na yung home-based, may teacher, si teacher ang gagawa ng mga activities, i-implement lang sa bahay. Whereas dito sa homeschool, talaga pong si parent or si learning facilitator ang magiging driver ng learning ng inyong mga anak. So I will also, actually, one of our teachers in the pre-elementary will be giving you a sample learning plans. Papakita rin po niya yung mga different types of learning plans. And then she's gonna also discuss about play-based and experiential learning, kasi nga po ito po yung mga approaches na ginagamit namin sa pre-elementary, mga proven and tested na mga teaching and learning approaches that must be integrated or at least utilized among the young learners. And then we will also discuss with you, our dear parents, about assessment. So ano bang difference ng sinasabing summative and formative? Paano ba i-assess ang mga bata ni parent, at paano naman ba i-assess ni school yung learning? We're gonna discuss about the grading system. So mamaya po, tingnan natin kung ano ba yung sinasabing grading system na yan. And then one of my co-teachers will also discuss with you our learning management system. Yan po yung sinasabi nating virtual classroom or virtual communication platform na gagamitin natin para kahit hindi po nagkikita-kita, para rin po tayong nagkikita-kita. And then included in that part is the curriculum guide walkthrough also. So ipapakita rin po ng isa sa mga teachers natin kung paano ba natin makikita yung sinasabing curriculum guide, or yung kumbaga yung magiging basis of everything po natin doon sa loob ng learning management system. And then if we will also touch on the different homeschooling methods. And then meron din po tayong special guest speaker for this afternoon who is very close to my heart. She's a close friend of our family, and talagang kanina po, nung morning, nakapag-share na siya. Talagang ang daming mga nag-react din doon sa naging sharing niya. Kasi sabi nga nila, no, it's so good to hear it from an expert. At ako po personally, as her friend, sisiguraduhin ko po talaga sa inyo na siya ay expert when it comes to homeschooling. So teacher, can you please go to the next slide? Okay, so I will be showing you the overview of the enrollment procedure. I-recap lang po natin. So yung po sinasabi ko kanina, yung parents orientation, if you haven't watched our recorded session last June 6, please communicate with us through our chat box. Pakilagay na lang po yung email address ninyo, and we will be glad to assist you. We will be sending you the video para mapanood ninyo. Pero ina-assume po namin na napanood ninyo dahil po dun sa ating question dun sa interview, we made sure na tinik nyo po yung yes na box which states that you are able to watch already. Okay, and then after that, after nyong basahin yon, nag-decide kayo as a family, nag-push through kayo with the interview of the family which was conducted by our beautiful program coordinator, Teacher Bridget Cronquillo. So, okay na po tayo dun. And then, after po nun, ay nag-enroll na kayo. So, nasendan kayo ng registration assessment form, nagbayad na sila. And then, after that, nandito na po tayo sa parents onboarding or ang family onboarding po natin. So, why did we call it the onboarding? Kasi nga po, ito yung parang isang barko para magkaintindihan tayo. Kailangan mag-hop in na kayo sa amin at magkaintindihan na tayo nung mga, the nitty-gritty of our Play Sagradan program. All right? Okay, Teacher Bridge. Okay. Now, let me discuss with you, our dear parents, the different learning styles of the students. So, you might be asking me, Teacher Kai, why is it important for us to identify the learning styles of the students? Actually, hindi lang po mga bata ang merong learning styles. In fact, tayo din po mga matatanda ay merong learning styles, no? So, myself, I am a visual learner. So, compared to Teacher Chris, siya naman po ay very word smart. So, reading, writing learner siya. Mamaya, I'll further elaborate on those kinds of learning styles. So, bakit importante? Very important po ito dahil in order for us to have this effective or efficient transfer of learning, kailangan po, lalo na po sa mga bata, no, hindi natin mapipilit yung gusto natin sa kanila, lalo na sa JC tsaka sa AC, kailangan talaga buwelo muna tayo. Alamin natin, ano bang mas effective sa kanya na learning style. Okay, Teacher Bridge, please. So, what type of learning is my child? First, we have the visual learner. So, what are the descriptions of a visual learner? So, if your child excels at visual activities such as art, if your child enjoys books that include illustrations such as pictures, graphs, maps, etc., if your child is good at recognizing and recalling people, words, and places, if your child is very interested in the world and objects around him or her, talagang bawat makita niya, gusto niyang lapitan, ganyan. If your child does best when provided with an example of the task he or she is working on, kailangan pakita mo, may model na gagayahin siya. Then, if check po tayo dyan, malamang ang anak niyo po ay visual learner. Teacher Bridge. So, what are the study tips for visual learners? So, this applies from young learners hanggang sa mga older kids na po natin. So, you may use different colors to create study notes. Well, for higher po yan. You can make study flashcards to use for review. Lahat po, i-turn nyo into visual, yung makikita ng mga mata niya. You can create mind maps, charts, and diagrams when studying. Actually, yung anak ko po nung kindergarten siya, dahil din po sa akin, para nakatulong na din sa pagiging visual learner ko, we would usually use graphic organizers like Venn diagram. Ano ba yung difference? May dalawang bilog. Ano ba yung difference ng character dito sa story na to? Yung cause and effect. Ayan, dyan natin magagamit yung mga diagrams na yan. So, okay, teacher. Next, what's the next kind of learning style? So, we have the auditory learner. So, sino-sino yung mga auditory learner? So, they are the children who excel at auditory activities. Lahat po ng pinagagamitan ng tenga natin. Sila po yan. If your child frequently sings, hums, or talks when playing or doing schoolwork, if your child does well when following verbal instructions, so kahit may ginagawa, may sinasabi ka, naiintindihan niya yan. If your child enjoys talking and having conversations with others, if your child listens to all the instructions before starting on a task, yung bang talagang hindi siya excited na gawin, pero kaya niyang makinig ng mahabang-mahaba. Kahit sa mga podcast na mga pangmatulanda, kaya niyang matuto. If your child asks a lot of questions when working on tasks or activities, then your child might be an auditory learner. So what are the study tips na mabibigay natin sa inyo kapag auditory learner yung anak nyo? So mag-recite kayo ng mga study notes out loud. Pwede nyo siyang pag-recitein, pero i-recite nyo rin sa kanya, mas maiintindihan niya rather than reading it. Makakatulong. So you can make up rhymes, songs, or stories when studying, and you can talk through areas your child is struggling with. So, usap. Yan. Sila yung magagaling din sa usap kasi magaling silang makinig, magaling silang yung comprehension nila when listening, magaling. So, nakakapagbalikan sila. Right? So, what's the third type of learning style? So, we have the reading and writing learner. Yan yung sinabi ko sa inyo si Teacher Chris. Yan po siya. She excels at naku, iniba ko na to pero hindi pa pala na iba. Anyway, yung pong reading and writing learning style po, sila po yung kapag meron silang pinakikinggan, kailangan nilang isulat, kailangan nilang artihan na merong mga kulay-kulay, merong mga iba't ibang color ng highlighter and everything. Sila po yung pagkakunyari, basta sa mga young learners, sila yung ma-scribble, ma-doodle, yan. So what are the study tips for reading and writing learners? So you write study notes out by hand, you create checklists to guide studying, and you organize study notes using heading and list. Gawin nyo po maarte yung pagsusulat. Pero this one is really, lalabas po talaga siya pag kindergarten and up na. What's the last kind? It's the kinesthetic learner. Yan, ako, madami po dyan kinesthetic sa pre-elementary, lumalabas agad yan. Nakikita po talaga natin yan. Our second born, Elias, is this kind of learner. He excels at physical activities, kahit anong sports, kasi po ang daddy niya ay sporty. So, kahit anong, bigyan nyo lang siya, pakita mo lang paano ginagawa niya, kaya na niya yan. And he has, quite a bit, he has a hard time sitting still while learning. Hindi kami masyadong, nag-try kami mag-homeschool, tapos nakita ko, na-identify ko, hindi pala siya pwede yung matagalang upo. Kailangan umiikot siya. Kahit pag-recitin mo siya, basta kailangan nag-move siya. So, he really enjoys hands-on activities or those experiential activities, yung talagang ma-experience niya. He enjoys active learning activities like drawing or study games, puro games. And then he prefers to jump straight into a task and get started. So, excited siya. Nagsasabi pa ako na instruction, siya, go na. Okay? So what are the study tips? You create practice tests to use while studying kasi nga po medyo hindi sila yung isang bigayan mo lang ng worksheet, magagawa na niya yan. You turn studying into a fun activity or game. So I shared with our parents this morning, yung anak ko po na yan. Shinare sa akin ng teacher niya noon, kailangan into games lagi. Kailangan yung colors, hindi pwedeng nakikinig lang siya kahit magpakita ka ng mixing of paint. Kailangan siya yung gumagawa. Or may game, like jumping on the colors para naaalala niya, ganyan. You can squeeze a stress ball while studying. You can have your child squeeze a stress ball. Pwede rin naman yung bigyan mo sila ng swiveling chair. Actually, ako po kasi ay advocate ng yung respect for the learning style of the child. So, minsan talagang nire-recognize ko siya. Hindi ko siya masyadong, yun ang kagandahan pag nasa bahay kayo. Hindi po katulad nung nasa school. Dahil sa minsan pressure si teacher dahil meron siyang 15 na students in a classroom. Pag may nag-move feeling ni teacher, parang naku, hindi yata nakikinig or hindi yata interested. Pero dahil kayo ay talagang mapapersonalize ninyo ang education or ang studies ng mga anak ninyo, mas madaling intindihin na, ay, kaya pala, kasi kailangan niyang mag-move para makinig siyang mabuti, di ba? Alright. Okay, before we go to the house or the step-by-step procedure of homeschooling in MDSF, I would like to also make a disclaimer na hindi naman po porket may learning styles ay iisa lang ang style na nakakategorize ang anak natin. So there might be a combination of two learning styles also. Bakit importante po nun? After identifying teacher Kai, anong gagawin natin? So after we identify, gagamitin na po natin yung learning style na yan. We have to always keep that in mind para mag-reflect siya dun sa learning plans na gagawin naman ni teacher, ni mommy teacher, or ni daddy teacher. Okay, so next slide please, Teacher Bridge. Okay, So, pinakita po namin sa inyo ito nung June 6 na orientation natin. So, how will I facilitate yung learning sa bahay, no? So, first, just to give you an overview, pero mamaya iisa-isahin po yan, magpo-provide po tayo ng course outline or yung curriculum guide na mismo. Dati nga, course outline lang. Ngayon, napag-aralan namin na para mas maintindihan ng mga parents, ano yung mga targeted na mga learning objectives. Hindi na basta-basta content lang. Bibigay na po namin sa inyo yung curriculum guide mismo na isa-isa doon na parang pag sinabing addition, ano yung mismong learning objectives? Nakalagay doon, the child should know how to add, parang single digit, ganyan-ganyan. Excuse me. So, alright. So, after ninyong makuha yung curriculum guide, si parent or si learning facilitator ang magtuturo ng concept. So, ang kagandahan naman po, our dear parents, dito sa pre-elementary, napakadali naman po ng concepts. Basic, very basic. Magkakatalo na lang po talaga tayo dun sa yung art natin kung paano siya matuturuan. Ang medyo pagtutuunan po talaga ng pansin natin, just to give you an idea, in the pre-elementary, ang talagang we make sure na ituturo namin. Minsan kahit ibang concepts, hindi niya masyadong mastered, pero talagang magtutuon po tayo ng pansin sa literacy skills niya. Most specifically, dun sa letter identification, letter sound identification, blending of sounds, numbers, yan po, addition, yan po yung mga kumbaga sinasabi nating non-negotiable. Kailangan all throughout the school year, lagi kayong may review kasi we are gonna enable them to read. Ito pong time na to ang pinaka-best time to really set a good foundation para po turuan nating magbasa ang ating mga anak. At napakaswerte po talaga ng mga nasa homeschool program kasi ma-personalize po ninyo yung mga learning plans ninyo at yung schedule ninyo, no, na kung kailan kayo ina-allow ng schedule ninyo at kung ano din yung learning style ng anak ninyo, talagang ma-fit ninyo po iyon. Yun ang kagandahan talaga. It's really one of the wonderful things about homeschooling. So after ituro ni teaching parent, after niya magbigay ng skill building activities through learning plans, paano naman i-assess? So si parent mag-a-assess, mas malaki ang assessment ni parent, si homeschool provider din or kami po, meron din kaming part so that we will be able to ensure that there's a learning that's taking place in the home. And then after that, part of the school's assessment is the family-led portfolio review. So mamaya po, papakita natin yan. Teacher Bridge, can you please go to the next slide? Okay, so what is a learning plan? So a learning plan is comprehensive, customizable, multi-day plan for instruction and assessment. So basically, di ba po, pag meron tayong mga gagawin sa buhay, nagpaplano tayo. So basically, ito po yung sinasabing lesson plan ng mga teachers. So we call it, kami po ngayon, we call it the, mga weekly learning plans, WLP, that's how we call it in the school. Pero nasa inyo po yan, kung paano nyo gustong gawin. Basta nandyan yung mga lessons, paano ko ituturo, nasa yung resources ko, yan na po yun. Okay. Next, teacher. Okay, what are the factors to consider in designing your plans? So first, we have know your child. Yun nga po yung binanggit natin, nandyan makikita niyo yung learning styles. Siyempre, sabi nga po nila, walang ibang nakakakilala sa ating mga anak, kundi hindi ang teacher, kundi ang parent. Alright? So dapat yun po, hindi natin mamimiss yun. So, dahil po tayo ang laging kasama ng mga anak natin sa ating mga pamamahay, dapat po taayong mga kasama niya sa bahay ang nakakakilala. So, dito po walang masyadong magiging problema kasi yun nga po katulad ng sinabi ko sa inyo, kayo po ang nakakaalam or nakakakilala sa mga strengths and yung mga, not weaknesses, pero yung mga areas for improvement pa nung bata. We have also yung multiple intelligence na sinasabi. You can research on this. Hindi ko na po siya masyadong i-elaborate ngayon, pero according to Howard Gardner, we have several multiple intelligences at meron pong mga ibang mga parents na ginagamit tong multiple intelligence na to, ina-identify niya ano yung intelligence ng anak ko para din malaman kung paano ko i-design yung learning plan na yan. Alright, teacher, can you please go to the next slide? So, know your content. So, paano ba natin to gagawin? Syempre, ang pinaka-formula para mag-fail tayo dito ay mag-plan ng araw-araw. Kunyari, ituturo ko na bukas or tuturo ko mamaya, nung morning ko lang babasahin yung content. So, wag po natin gagawin yon. Alamin nating mabuti kung ano yung content na ituturo natin. What's good about pre-elementary is yun nga po, as I've said, very basic pa lang naman din po yung ituturo nila. So, next. Okay, know your materials. Ito po yung sinasabi namin na developmentally appropriate practice. So, ang lagi ko pong tinatanong sa mga pre-elementary teachers, developmentally appropriate ba to for JC? Developmentally appropriate ba to sa kinder? What do you mean by developmentally appropriate? Ibig sabihin, dun sa nasaan yung bata, ito ba ay akma dun sa mga skills na meron na siya? Baka mamaya, yung material na to, yung storybook na to, ang liliit ng text, ang haba, nagko-contain siya ng mga setting, yung setting niya parang hindi naman maintindihan ng bata, masyadong mahirap. So, pati po yung mga videos na ipapakita natin sa kanila, we have to make sure na talagang appropriate siya sa age, appropriate siya sa development ng bata, significant siya. Huwag nating ipilit kung hindi significant, ano? Pag po sinabing significant, may kinalaman ba to dun sa, may connect ba siya sa buhay din ng anak ko or parang masyadong pilit? So, excuse me, wag po nating hayaan na hindi naman niya naiintindihan or yung sinasabing prior knowledge. When you say prior knowledge, yun po yung knowledge na before mo i-present yung isang content, no? Baka kung ano na yung sinasabi natin, hindi pala niya naiintindihan yung mga masyado palang malalim yung vocabulary na ginagamit natin. So, kahit po yung mga materials, our dear parents, you have to at least, kung may video, panoorin muna natin, mas maganda kung may story din, basahin muna natin, hindi yung on the spot, tapos biglang mapapakringe ka na lang kasi merong mga hindi appropriate, right? Okay, so, planning for instruction. So, there are several guides also, no, para din po mag-guide namin kayo how to plan accordingly. Sige, Teacher Bridge. So we have 8. So it's the content, the goals, the objectives, the timeline, development, practice, evaluation, and reflection. So isa-isahin po natin siya. So first is, Teka. Alright. So, hindi na pala siya na isa-isa. Okay. Okay. So, just to give you a brief description lang po kung ano-ano po ito. Yung pong content, yung goals and objectives, usually yan po ay makikita natin sa curriculum guide. Okay? So, yan na po yung parang learning competencies po natin. Ano-ano ba yung mga goals natin? Kailangan clear sa mind natin. Kailangan aligned silang lahat. Next is yung timeline natin. Kailangan time-bound siya. Kailangan feasible siya, doable siya. Kunyari, nagbigay tayo ng mga, mga mini project, mamaya i-explain sa atin ni Teacher Jed yun, yung mga performance task assessment. Kailangan anyway, sa kahit naman pong plano, no, kailangan talaga time-bound. Kailangan naaakma siya dun sa paggagawa natin, yung kakayanan ng anak natin at yung plano, kailangan akma siya. So, yon yung development, katulad ng sinasabi natin kanina, yung habang dinedevelop natin yung yung pinaka-project na yon, kailangan align silang lahat. And then you do it, you implement it, that's where practice comes in. After nung practice, magkakaroon ka ngayon ng evaluation or titingnan mo yan through the assessment, kamusta siya? From the results of the assessment, you will now reflect. Parang hindi naintindihan ng anak ko yung ito. Parang yung learning objective yata parang hindi namin na-hit. Or parang may mali. Parang ang sabi, kailangan daw matutunan ng anak ko, yung, ma-identify niya yung initial sounds ng mga objects. Bakit parang hindi niya get? So babalik ulit, magre-reflect si teacher or si teaching parent, titingnan niya ngayon, ano ba yung pwede ko pang gawin para ulitin ulit? Pero syempre, doon ka na ulit po papasok sa development, ulit practice, evaluation, reflection. Kasi yung content, yung goals, saka yung objectives, given na po siya. Alright. Now, I would like to give the floor to one of my teachers here in the pre-elementary department. Siya po ay actually matagal na rin po siyang nasa pre-elementary. Last year, she's one of the teachers in the advanced CASA level. At ito pong teacher na to ay hindi ko makakalimutan dahil magaling po siya sa circle time, no? Talagang when it comes to, running the show during the circle time, talagang very engaging siya. So without further ado, let me present and give the floor to Teacher K. Teacher K?
Thank you, Teacher Kai.
Welcome. Sige, teacher.
Good afternoon, dear parents. So I am Teacher K, and today I will be presenting you sample learning plan. So kanina po, explain na po ni Teacher Kai what is learning plan. So babalikan lang po ulit natin yung learning plan. It is a useful tool guide that helps us to manage the learning goals or outcome of a child. So nakakatulong or malaking help yung learning plan para malaman natin yung progress ng learning ng mga anak natin. So, sa pamamagitan po ng learning plan, malalaman natin kung naging successful ba or may kailangan pa bang improve yung mga activities na binigay natin sa mga anak natin. So, next slide please, Teacher Bridge. Okay. So, today po, I will be presenting you our weekly learning plan here in Sagrada. So, our weekly learning plan po, it shows po what a teacher is planning to do and teach over a week-long period. So, ayan po, as you can see on the screen, ayan po yung tinatawag namin dito sa Sagrada na weekly planning form, which is nakaplan po sa weekly planning form yung activities and all the lessons start from Monday to Friday. So, usually po, itong weekly learning plan involves po dito yung specific goal, kung ano ba yung goal, which is makikita po natin sa curriculum guide na ipo-providing po ng school sa atin. And yung plans for a class during the week. So kami po mga teachers here in Sagrada, dyan po nakalagay lahat ng mga plans namin for that topic in each day. Like for example, sa Monday, ano ba yung lesson, ano yung topic, dyan po namin ilalagay lahat yung mga activities na kailangan gawin ng kids. So nakapaloob po lahat yon sa aming WPF. As you can see po, this one, Monday to Thursday, ang tawag po dito mami and daddy. So hinimay-himay po namin yung topic for each day po. As you can see po, our WPF is very detailed. Ilalagay po namin kung ano po yung lesson for that day, papaano namin siya i-execute sa kids, yung circle time po namin, yun po kasi yung dito po kasi sa loob ng classroom namin, circle time, dun po namin i-insert yung lessons involving songs, finger plays, and hindi po nalalaman ng kids na they are learning, pero at the same time, kumakanta kami ng songs, naglalaro kami ng games, pero hindi alam ng mga kids na natututo na sila or naipapasok na yung mismong topic for that day. So as you can see po, ayan po yung mga activities po namin for a week long. So ayan po siya. It's very detailed po. As you can see, may mga pictures po kami nilalagay kasi po, the purpose po kung bakit po din po kami naglalagay ng pictures for our WPF is para may pattern din po kami for our hands-on activities. So, pero ang tanong po dito is, Teacher K, do we need to make WPF na very detailed? Na kailangan po ba talaga gumawa kami ng ganitong plan na very detailed at talagang mahabang-mahaba. Pinakita lang po namin ito sa inyo, dear parents, para magkaroon din po kayo ng idea on how to, paano ba natin hihimay-himayin yung bawat topic sa araw-araw. So ngayon naman po, I will be presenting you kayo po, kanina po nakita niyo po na parang ay very complicated kasi very detailed yung WPF na ginagamit po namin dito sa school. So ngayon po, papadaliin po natin, mas gagawin po natin simple yung paggagawa po natin ng activities sa bawat lesson na ituturo natin sa mga bata, sa mga anak natin. So here is the daily learning plan. So this is just a very simple plan which is nakapaloob po doon yung topic for that day. At the same time, nakapaloob din po doon yung lessons and hands-on activities, yung mga sources na mapagkukuhanan mo para maituro mo sa anak mo yung lesson for that day. So it's not very it's very simple at hindi siya overwhelming kagaya po na ipinresent ko sa inyong WPF kanina. So this one is just an example. So it's your decision din po, dear parents, kung sa ganitong paraan niyo po ba gagawin yung daily learning plan niyo. So this is just an information po na nakuha po namin mula din po sa parent na nag-homeschooling din po yung mga anak nila. So she gave us her ideas kung papaano ba nila ginagawa yung daily learning plan sa bahay nila. So like for example po, this one, as you can see on the screen, it's just an example po, mommies and daddy. So like for example po, ang date po is August 3, 2020. So it's Monday. And for that day, ang subject po is mathematics and the topic is primary and secondary colors. This one po, yung learning competencies ay nakapaloob po siya sa curriculum guide na ipoprovide po ng school. So palagi po natin kakalimutan na yung every activities na ibibigay natin sa mga anak natin, let's make sure na natatarget yung goal, natatarget yung learning competencies na nakapaloob sa mismong subject na ituturo mo sa anak mo. So like for example, this one, for the primary and secondary colors, so yung learning competencies are to be able to identify primary and secondary colors, to be able to sort and classify objects according to their color, to be able to experiment how secondary colors are made. So from these learning competencies, dito po tayo ngayon mag-i-insert ng mga activities, ng iba't ibang activities na alam natin mag-enjoy yung mga anak natin. So next slide po, teacher. Okay, so here po, as you can see on the screen, sa loob po kasi ng classroom, we start our day with songs and finger plays. We all know naman po, dear parents, na our kids are born singers and dancers. Kahit po wala sa tono, kahit po wala po yung proper steps, as much as nakakarinig po sila ng music at nakakakita po sila ng classmates nila na nagda-dance, I-enjoy po talaga nila yun. So we always start our day with songs and finger plays. Pero po, as you can see po, sa example po, as much as possible po siguro yung mga songs or finger plays po na ituturo natin sa mga kids ay related sa topic po natin that day. So kung natatandaan niyo po yung kanina na ang topic po for that day is about primary and secondary colors. So related din po yung songs. It's about colors din po. Like for example, yung rainbow song, kung may familiar po sa inyo, and colored fish song. So related po yung songs na yun sa mismong topic for that day. So yung mga kids, they are just singing, pero hindi po nila namamalayan na nai-insert na natin yung topic through those songs na ituturo natin sa kanila. And of course po, palaging isa po sa mga nagbibigay kulay po sa large group time po namin here inside of our classroom is the read aloud or the storytelling. So we all know po, dear parents, na our kids loves stories, loves to hear stories from their parents, even kay teacher. Minsan po, makikita mo may ibang kids na nagbabrowse sila ng books, tapos sila mismo yung nagsasabi ng story, even hindi naman po talaga yung mismo nakalagay sa books. So, as much as possible, mas maganda po na i-include po natin sa ating daily learning plan yung mga books. Pero po, as much as possible, mas maganda po na yung books po na gagamitin natin for that day is also related din po sa mismong lesson for that day. So like for example po dito sa aking example, storybook is about when colors came to town. Yung mga kids naman po, they love to mahilig po, love po nila na makinig sa stories, and some of our kids, they know how to read. So mahilig din po sila mag-browse ng books. So hindi po nila alam na yung isa po sa mga ine-enjoy nilang bagay like singing and storytelling, doon pa lang po, nai-insert na po natin yung mismong lesson natin sa kanila for that day. And this one po, ito po is isa sa mga gustong-gusto ng mga kids natin, yung hands-on activities. So dito po natin ipapasok yung different activities. So as you can see po, I put some activities po na talagang mag-enjoy yung mga bata. Kagaya po ng sinabi kanina ni teacher, we need to know kung saan ba magaling yung anak ko, kung visual ba yung anak ko. So ganitong activities yung kapagawa ko sa kanya para hindi po siya nag-enjoy po siya sa activities niya, at the same time hindi po siya mabobore kaagad. So like for examples po ng mga hands-on activities ko dito, color mixing. So our kids were just thinking na naglalaro lang kayo, pero hindi nila namamalayan na ipapasok na natin yung lesson sa kanila for that day. Meron din pong color sorting. So, this one, pwede pong gamitin to like sa loob po ng bahay, pwedeng paghanapin yung mga anak natin ng mga things with different colors. So, nag-enjoy na po yung kids natin. Meron pa po silang bond with his mommy or daddy. So, ito po, this one po, yung arts and crafts. This is one of the favorite moment po ng mga kids. Based on my experiences po, favorite po nila ito dito sa loob ng classroom. So kami din po mga teachers, we became very creative din po when it comes to arts and crafts. So naging best friend na po namin si Pinterest, si Google to look for arts and crafts na mag-fit po sa mismong topic for that day. So kung may times din po na hindi talaga, may times po na hindi po ma-fit yung mga nasa-search po namin arts and crafts activities for our kids or for your kids po, we create, yun po yung mga organic na talagang gumagawa po kami ng title for that activity para mas lalo po pong namomotivate yung kids to do the arts and crafts. So, ang akala lang po nila, they're just playing, naglalagay lang po sila nagko-color lang po sila, nagpi-paste lang po sila ng different colors, pero nai-insert na po natin yung pinaka-lesson for that day. So, next slide please. Ayan po. So, pwede din po nating gawing part ng ating daily learning plan, yung videos and apps. Pero po, just like what Teacher Kai said a while ago, we have to be very, very, very careful po sa pag-choose ng mga videos na ipapanood po natin sa mga anak natin. And as much as possible, videos that are related to their lesson or to their topic. A very, very simple videos lang po. And mas maganda po siguro na bago po natin ipanood sa mga anak natin, kailangan na-ready po muna natin yung content ng buong video kasi hindi po natin alam kung ano yung videos na applicable para sa mga anak natin. So as much as possible po yung mga videos na nakikita po natin sa YouTube or other apps, very simple lang po and related po sa lesson for that day. Parang yung buong learning plan po natin, buong daily learning plan natin, ay pupunuin po natin ng mga activities, videos na related lang po sa mismong lesson for that day. So this one po, yung field trips, hindi po siya very applicable for this time because of the pandemic. Pero po, pwede po natin mas gawing fruitful, mas maganda. Like for example, magkaroon po kayo ng house tour or even sa labas po ng bahay nyo, sa garden. Like dahil po ang topic po natin for this day is about primary and secondary colors. So why not magkaroon po kayo ng object hunting or color hunting na yung anak niyo po is maghahanap ng different colors inside of the house. So nagkakaroon ng bonding at the same time natututo pa po yung mga anak natin. So meron din po tayong mga sources ng topic natin for that day na makikita po natin sa books, which is providing po ng school, or pwede din po tayong gumawa ng mga very simple worksheets po sa mga anak natin. So later po itong worksheets na ito ay ito-discuss din po sa atin ni teacher that how to make worksheets. So yun po, pwede po tayong gumawa ng mga worksheets or mga pwede nating pasagutan sa mga anak natin. And of course, yung books po na may mga content din po ng lessons. So next slide po. So, kanina po, I show you the WPF, yung week-long concept po namin. So, nakalagay po lahat ng ano ba yung topic for Monday, ano ba yung topic for Tuesday until Friday. So, dito po, ito pong nakikita niyo sa screen, we do an integration po. So, like for example, ang topic po for the day, for Monday, is primary and secondary colors. And the next day po is about sounds around me. So, teacher, paano po ba yung integration? So, ang ginagawa po namin inside of the classroom, kung ang topic po namin ng Monday is about colors, kailangan po mai-apply po ulit natin yon the next day. Kahit iba na po yung topic, as much as possible po, we have to, kailangan ulit may repetition pong nangyayari para hindi po nakakalimutan ng mga anak natin yung lesson na na-tackle na natin sa kanila. So like for example, may mga kids po kasi na matandain po sila. Pag may mga kids po na pag inulit-ulit mo naman po sa kanila, magrereklamo po sila, teacher, paulit-ulit si teacher. Pero may mga kids naman po na mabilis po nilang makalimutan yung topic na itinuro mo sa kanila kung nasa Tuesday na kayo. So you have to kailangan meron pong integration yung kung ano po yung lesson for Monday, kailangan may apply mo rin siya sa next topic mo the next day. So like for example po, this one, primary and secondary colors po yung topic ng Monday, and Tuesday is sounds around me. So dito po ina-apply po namin yung integration sa mga hands-on activities. So next slide please. Ayan po. So dito po sa Monday, so yung activity po namin is about Happy Rainbow. So pagdating po dito sa Sounds Around Me, yung mga activities po like anything that creates sounds or makes sounds. Like for example po, nagpagawa po kami ng tissue tube na may pebbles sa loob. So paano po namin may integrate yung primary and secondary colors na activities na yun? So first, pinapaint po namin sa kanila yung tissue tube, para po, they are enjoying kung ano yung po yung ginagawa. They are just thinking na nagpipaint lang sila, pero na-integrate pa din po yung topic na lesson nyo ng Monday. So, hindi po nalalaman ng kids na, at the same time, nagre-review pala si teacher sa akin nung past lesson namin. So, ito po yung isa pang example. This one. Next slide. Okay, ayan po yung colors everywhere. So, dito po we have to be creative po talaga when it comes to activities sa mga kids. Yun po talaga yung pinaka-importante na dear parents na when it comes to activities, kailangan po ang isipin po natin, hindi po kasi tayo ang magbe-benefit. Ang magbe-benefit po is yung mga kids, yung mga anak po natin. Paano ba magiging maganda? Paano ba ilalove ng anak ko yung lesson, dahil po ang mga anak po natin ay may mga kids po talaga na very short po yung attention span nila. So we have to be very creative when it comes to activities po na ipapagawa po natin sa kanila. So like for example po yung second day na Sounds Around Me, this one po yung nakikita niyo pong picture is a template of a guitar. So paano po natin ma-integrate yung primary and secondary colors sa Sounds Around Me? So pakulayan po natin yung guitar with different colors, and dun po sa pamamagitan po na-integrate na po natin yung lesson nung Monday, which is the primary and secondary colors po. And alam ko po some of you is asking na, Teacher K, parang ang hirap naman gumawa ng activity. So, parang nakakapagod kasi kailangan yung anak ko is mag-enjoy siya sa papaanong paraan ba, ano bang mga activity. So, kami din po mga teachers, talagang one of our struggle is how our kids or how the kids will enjoy the lesson na hindi talaga sila mababagot but at the same time, mag-enjoy sila sa mga lesson na ibinibigay namin sa kanila. So, I'll show you the play-based and experiential learning po. So, kasi po here in Sagrada, play-based po talaga kami. Because kids loves to play. Gusto lang po nila, naglalaro lang sila. Naalala ko po dati nung bata pa po ako, yung mami ko ay ayaw niya na nag-play ako sa labas or nakikipaglaro ako. Pero nung naging teacher na po ako sa Sagrada, I realized na through playing pala talaga, natututo talaga yung mga bata. They're just playing pero hindi natin alam na yun pala yung one of the ways para ma-develop din sila. So, I'll show you the play-based learning. Next slide po. So this one, so play-based learning is essentially to learn while at play. So, ground po kasi talaga ng kids ang play. So, hindi po natin sila pwedeng limitahan sa kung ano po yung sa ganitong side ka lang mag-play, ito lang kailangan mong gawin. Kasi po, they are kids, they love to play. So, here in Sagrada, yun po talaga yung way of para matuto po yung mga bata is through play-based. So, play-based learning is valuable po for strengthening many areas of development and learning. So, play-based learning po can help support our child's learning of social emotional skills. So, may mga kids po kasi na nagpe-pretend sila na nagbabahay-bahayan. Merong mga kids na nagpe-pretend po sila na gumagawa ng kung ano-ano. So, through playing, natututo po sila. And through playing, hindi po natin alam na yun po yung one of the ways para ma-develop po yung mga anak natin. And also, general cognitive development, self-regulation ability. So, we use, here in Sagrada po, we use play as a context for learning. Medyo ano po talaga, mahirap po talaga kasi po, kumbaga parang kailangan na po natin lumabas dun sa kahon na before po kasi very traditional na kailangan pen and paper. So ito yung paper, sagutan mo yan, kailangan intindihin mo itong nasa book. Pero po kasi ngayon, ano na po tayo, play-based na tayo, hayaan po natin na mag-enjoy yung mga anak natin through playing. And at the same time, they are playing, but at the same time, they are learning. So through play-based learning po, so our kids can explore, our kids can experiment, our kids can discover and solve problems in imaginative and playful ways. Because kids love to play, so idaan po natin lahat sa laro para sa mga anak natin. And yung play po kasi it controls yung play po kasi malaking tulong po siya sa development ng isang bata. So, hindi po natin kailangan kontrolin yung development ng anak natin. So, we have to trust play. Kasi po, play will raise the child play will raise a child in ways you can never imagine. So, akala niyo po naglalaro-laro lang sila, pero natututo sila through playing. And the next one naman po is yung experiential learning. So it says here that experiential learning is the process of learning through experience. And it is more specifically defined as learning through reflection on doing. So may kasabihan na po tayo na experience is the best teacher. And yung experiential learning po, it is learning by doing. Kaya lang po talaga, kailangan po talaga maging matyaga po tayo sa mga anak natin. Kasi po may times na, teacher, nagsasabog po kasi, teacher, makalat po kasi pag hinayaan namin siya mag-explore. Pero po, yun po kasi yung way ng bata para matuto sila. May may mga parents po kasi na, like for example, yung parent ko po ayaw po nila na nagsasabog, ayaw po nila na makalat sa loob ng bahay, pero hindi po natin alam na through, dahil po dun sa nag-explore sila, they are learning by doing. Ginagawa po nila yung mga bagay na rin, but at the same time, natututo po sila. So, hayaan po natin na mag-explore yung mga anak natin. Huwag po natin limitahan yung learning ng mga anak natin. So, hayaan po natin silang mag-play, hayaan po natin silang matuto by doing things on their own. Kasi po, doon po talaga matututo at madidevelop po yung mga anak natin. So, yung curiosity po, curiosity is the wick in the candle of learning. So, hayaan po natin na yung curiosity po ng mga anak natin is gamitin po nila yon para mas matuto po sila. Kasi po, experience is the best teacher po. Hayaan po natin na kung, like for example, sa isang activity, hayaan po natin na, sige, magsabog sila ng colors, ng paintings, kasi through those experiences, natututo po yung mga anak natin. So, as I end po, I will leave you this quote from Maria Montessori. So it says here, the goal should be to activate the child's own natural desire to learn. So, wala po tayong ibang goal, dear parents, kundi yung ma-activate po yung natural desire ng mga anak natin na matuto. So hindi po natin kailangan limitahan yung mga anak natin sa kung paano sila matututo sa isang topic o sa isang lesson. Kasi po, ang goal po natin as parents and me as a teacher is ma-activate po yung natural desire ng mga anak natin to learn. So that's it po. Thank you so much po.
Yay! Thank you, Teacher Kay. Sabi po nila, no, virtual clap nga daw po ay ganito. So, palakpakan po natin si Teacher Kay. Thank you, Teacher Kay. Alam niyo po, dear parents, nung session namin this morning, I was telling my co-teachers, talaga pong parang crash course po talaga to ng, actually, for this afternoon session, crash course po siya ng early childhood education, para po tayo talaga mga nagiging yung talagang totoong teacher. So I'm very blessed to have these wonderful teachers with me, kasi po nung talagang when Teacher Bridget and I, when we were conceptualizing about this family onboarding, pinangalanan na po namin yung mga teachers na gusto namin na maging resource speakers, at they did not hesitate naman po to really be of help para mas maipaliwanag natin how we do it here in MDSF. So, disclaimer again, our dear parents, yung pong lahat ng mga pinipresent namin, these are actually yung katulad po nung pag-design ng learning plan, suggestive po ito, pero nasa sa inyo po yun kung paano nyo po mai-implement or paano po magkakaroon ng transfer of learning or na magkakaroon ng learning sa bahay while targeting the learning competencies that are included in the curriculum guides that we will be providing. So, thank you again, Teacher Kay. Ang takeaway ko kay Teacher Kay is yung experiential tsaka yung play-based. Natutuwa ako dahil, as an early childhood educator, yan na po talaga yung mga napapaniginipan namin sa gabi. Walang hintong paglalaro, talagang research, has shown the power of play para po maintindihan ng mga maliliit na bata yung mga dapat nilang maintindihan, or para po ma-develop nila yung mga skills na dapat ay nade-develop nila sa bawat age range na tinatawag. So, maraming salamat, Teacher Kay. So, next naman po, after nung learning plans, natuturuan po namin kayo kung ano yung mga dapat i-consider when you do your learning plans. We were able to give you a sample of learning plans. We were able to show you the types of learning plans. We have the daily learning plan and we have the weekly learning plan. Some parents, some homeschooling parents, they even make quarterly plans, yearly plans, basta wag lang po talagang kahit po daily plan yung piliin natin. Wag naman yung ngayon gagamitin, tapos nung morning lang nag-plan. Mas maganda po talaga, we plan ahead of time. Tapos, At least hindi po parang chapsuy or sabog-sabog yung ating i-implement. And now, after Teacher K, after we listen to Teacher K, ngayon pupunta naman po tayo dun sa assessment. So, after nating i-present, after nating malaman ng curriculum, after nating bigyan yung i-deliver ang ating instruction, nagkaroon tayo ng mga skill building activities, how are we going to identify if there's really a learning that's taking place, Very important po 'yun because as teaching parents who are about to give homeschooling a try, you might be wondering along the way, natututo ba yung anak ko sa akin, 'di ba? Minsan sa amin po mga teachers, kahit ang tinapos na namin ay education, kahit mga educators na kami, minsan lalo na sa first few years namin, nagtatanong kami, natututo ba talaga sila? So, ito pong tinatawag naming assessment, ang nagiging tool po namin to identify kung meron ba talagang learning na nangyayari. So, this part is divided into two. So, first, tuturuan po tayo ni Teacher Jed, paano ba natin sila ma-i-assess sa home? Ituturo po niya kung ano yung mga ginagawa namin dati sa school na pwede niyo pong i-apply sa inyong mga bahay-bahay. And after yung part 2 po nito, ay ako naman po yung magpapaliwanag. Ito yung part ni home, ano naman yung part ni school as your homeschool provider. So, I mentioned her name already. So, Teacher Jed, she's been with us for 5 years. And she's a mom to Ellie. Meron na rin siyang baby girl, no? Tapos, actually, just to give you also, just to share with you, with Teacher Jed's permission, yung kanyang ang napangasawa po niya ay parte ng, coach siya ng Sagrada. Diba? Dito rin sila nagkakilala. So, nakakakilig na love story. So, without further ado, let me introduce to you one of my co-teachers in the pre-elementary department, Teacher Jedel Tangon. Teacher Jed, take it away.
Good afternoon, our dear parents. Now, I will show you the Sagrada way of making assessment. But before that, let me define first what's the meaning of assessment. Okay, so what is assessment? In Depth Order number 8, series of 2015, assessment is defined as an integral part of curriculum implementation. So, ang assessment, isa sa pinakamahalagang part ng learning process ng ating mga anak. So, this will help the teacher track, and next slide, Teacher Bridget, it enables the teacher to track and measure the learner's progress. So, our dear parents, dahil kayo na po ay magiging mommy teacher and daddy teacher ng inyong mga anak, so these assessments will help you know if the assessment that you are giving your child, the teaching strategies that you are using is effective or not. So this will help you know the effectivity of your strategy. Next, learning assessment is also one way to adjust instructions accordingly. So sabi ko nga po kanina, our dear parents, dito natin malalaman kung meron ba talagang learning na nagte-take place sa ating mga anak. So by making assessments, malalaman natin if meron ba tayong bagay na kailangang i-modify in our way of teaching our child. And also, makikita rin natin kung gaano ka-effective yung strategy na binibigay natin sa mga bata. Next. And also, our dear parents, ang assessment is also an ongoing process. So, lahat siya integrated or aligned siya sa instruction, assessment. So, ang assessment, our dear parents, you will instruct first and then you will assess. After assessing, doon ka na magre-reflect. Doon mo na aalamin kung parang nahihirapan yung anak ko sa part na to. So, ano yung kailangan kong gawin para mas lalo niyang maintindihan yung lesson? So, doon na papasok yung pag-adapt natin sa ginawa nating assessment. Okay, next page. So, there are two types of assessment. Next. Formative assessment and summative assessment. First, let's talk about the formative assessment. Formative assessment is about strengthening, assessment for learning. anytime during the learning process. So, our dear parents, ang formative assessment ay isa ito sa way para ma-strengthen yung bata and yung teacher. So, side po ni teacher, gagawin natin yung formative assessment para malaman kung effective yung strategy na ginagawa ni teacher or ni mommy or ni daddy teacher sa bahay. And also, nai-strengthen yung bata kasi doon natin matatrack kung may progress yung learning ng bata. And also, our dear parents, formative assessment, most of it po is just to know the stand of the kids in the learning process. Hindi po ito recorded. Most of the formative assessments po are not recorded. Next, Teacher Bridget. And second is the summative assessment. Summative assessment is the display of strength, assessment of learning. So, let's remember that, our dear parents. So, sa summative assessment, dito na natin malalaman kung ano ba talaga yung mga naging result ng pag-aaral ng bata. So, in summative assessment, ito po, our dear parents, yung recorded na assessment po ng mga bata. So, in Sagrada, in preschool, we don't have the numerical grades, our dear parents, but we do have the checklist and the narrative reports, which dito po siya nagre-reflect. Yung mga outputs po from our summative assessment, nire-reflect po namin siya sa aming observation checklist, our dear parents. So, most of the time, a summative assessments po is done every quarter at the end of the quarter. Okay, so let's always remember, our dear parents, na kung gagawa po tayo ng assessment ng ating bata, let's take note that curriculum, instruction, and assessment should always be aligned with each other. So, kailangan lagi tayo nagbe-base kay curriculum na bigay ng school. Kasi po ang curriculum, di ba po kanina, na-discuss na po ni Teacher Kai, na doon nakalagay yung mga objectives na kailangang makuha ng mga bata. So dahil ayun yung mga things na kailangan matutunan ng bata, yung assessment natin is doon natin siya i-base. Hindi tayo gusto, for example po, ang topic is about colors, i-assess natin about sa shapes. Ang nasa curriculum po is colors na kailangan malaman ng bata, ma-identify niya yung mga colors ng mga objects. So, kailangan po talaga align sila with each other. And also, the way of teaching ng teacher, yung instruction niya. Next. So, ito nga po, our dear friends, learning competencies is always equal to instructional activities and to classroom assessment. So, always po tayong magbe-base kay learning competencies para meron din po tayong guide, our dear parents. Okay, now, let me show you the example or the sample assessments in formative po here in Sagrada. So, first type of formative assessment that we do in Sagrada is the written assessment. So, our dear parents, sa written assessment, ito po yung mga practice drills na ginagawa namin to know if nag-get ba nung bata yung lesson ng particular day na yun. And also, this will also help you, our dear parents, when you do your own formative written assessment sa bahay. Ito po yung magiging way sa inyo para malaman if tama kaya yung strategy na ginamit ko para turuan yung anak ko. So, ito na po yun, our dear parents. So, this here flash in the screen are the samples, worksheet, and seat work po here in Sagrada. So, our dear parents, you may look at it and it will help you and this will serve as your guide in making your own worksheet and seat work at home. So, in making our written assessments in Sagrada, we have guidelines to consider. First, it should be aligned with the learning competencies. Next, Teacher Bridget. So, here po, ito po yung sample learning competencies po in Sagrada. So, the school will provide you with the learning competencies. Meron andun po yung pinaka-topic and then the contents that should be taught and also the objectives. So, let's always remember, our dear parents, that when we do or make written assessments for our kids, we should always check the objectives from the curriculum. Okay, the next thing that we need to consider is the font style and font size. So here in Sagrada po, we use Century Gothic because what do you think are their parents? We use this for the kids not to feel confused with the proper strokes of the letters and numbers. Kasi alam naman natin, our dear parents, na dahil masyado na nagmo-modernize ang ating panahon, marami pong fonts na iba-iba yung style. May cursive, pero ang preschoolers po kasi, we should stick with the basic para po mas retain sa kanila yung learning. So kung nakikita nila na iba-iba yung style ng strokes ng mga letters and numbers, magkakaroon po yun ng confusion sa kanila. And Century Gothic is the best font to use po para maging aware sila sa proper strokes ng mga letters. And also, we use the minimum of 14 font size, maximum of 16. So the written assessments is clear and understandable. Next. Okay, for the next one, we also consider the border or picture frame. So our dear parents, always remember po, if you will do your own written assessment at home, and if you want to use borders or frames, because our dear parents, the primary goal lang po ng teachers why they use frames or borders just to separate each item from another. But we don't want them to get distracted. So, gagamit lang po tayo ng mga simple and thin borders. Just enough to divide them and para hindi sila ma-confuse. And our dear parents, as in my experience po, pag gumamit po kasi tayo ng mga borders or frames na too colorful, masyadong broad, yung attention po ng bata sa border or sa frame na lang po napupunta. And kung ang bata po ay distracted, yung result po ng assessment ay naaapektuhan. Minsan po, kahit mastered na nila yung concept na yun, dahil na-distract sila, yung result po minsan nagiging sobrang baba ng score nila. So we should always consider that po, our dear parents. And next is the choice of pictures. We should always consider po yung mga clip arts. In Sagrada, we use clip arts and real-life images para po mas ma-visualize po nila from real objects po yung mga nasa written exam po. May instances pa nga po, our dear parents, example, in the assessment egg. And then, ang ginamit po ni teacher na real objects is the real egg. And then, nung pumunta na po sa written assessment, ang nangyari, naging parang scrambled egg siya. Nalito na po yung bata. So, we should always consider na yung mga pictures na gagamitin natin is near to real objects or real life objects. And last po is we should also consider the number of items. And since our dear parents, we are just making the formative assessment to know their stand in the lesson, we should also only make 5 items, maximum of 7. We should always remember our dear parents that they are just preschoolers. And madali po silang ma-distract and madali silang ma-pull. So if we will make sobrang habang test sa kanila, baka po yung pinaka-goal ng assessment is hindi na po natin ma-achieve. Okay? The next type of formative assessment that we do here in Sagrada is oral assessment. So our dear parents, dahil po kayo ay magtuturo po sa bahay, isa po ito sa one of the effective way na gamitin nyo po to assess them in formative way. So, ang here po in the screen, ang sample po namin is colors everywhere, primary and secondary. So if you want to assess them, you will ask them, anak, let's play, come on. Oh, mommy have here some containers, and then there's the label, there's the corresponding colors. What you're gonna do is to sort out the objects according to their color. Oh, in that way po, parents, nakita nyo na yung bata, ay, alam nung anak ko, yung red, dapat dito sa red. Alam nyo yung green, dapat sa container na for green. So, doon pa lang po, nalaman natin na okay, alam na pala yung anak ko na alam niya na yung primary and secondary colors. So, ayun po yung mga one of the ways na ginagawa rin namin here sa Sagrada. Kasi po, because they are preschools, they are just kids,
mas naaaliw po sila if may play na nagaganap while they are being assessed by the teacher. And the next po kasi sa All About Me, Body Silhouette naman po, again po is about parts of the body kung saan po ita-trace po yung body ng bata and then the kids will point the body part that the mommy or the teacher will say. So dun pa lang po alam na ng ni mommy or ni daddy teacher na okay, yung anak ko alam na yung parts of the body, pwede na akong lumipat sa pangalawang topic. Okay, next. For the third formative assessment that we do here in Sagrada is the practice reading drills. Ito po parang trial, parang everyday, gagawin po natin just to know kung yung bata is nare-remember po niya yung mga letter sounds. So here in Sagrada po, what we do, the teachers do, after every lesson about letters, ang ginagawa po namin, meron kaming chart. Sa chart po na yon, lahat po ng letter sounds na discuss is nilalagay po doon. And then araw-araw po, nire-review po yun ni teacher. Sa ganung paraan po, nare-retain po sa mga bata yung letter sounds and also mas na-expose po sila. So our dear parents, yung mga types of formative assessments po na sinabi ko, pwede nyo po siyang gayahin or gawin sa house para you may use your own way kung ano pong klaseng assessment yung gusto nyo. Ayun lang po yung suggestion lang po ng Sagrada. Next. Now, our dear parents, let's talk about the summative assessment. Summative assessments are the graded assessments po. And ito po yung assessments na ginagawa at every end of the quarter. So first is we do the reading assessment. So di ba po a while ago sa formative, meron tayong practice reading drills. So after ma-practice ng bata, at the end of the quarter, meron siyang pinaka-final, yung reading assessment na po, kung saan all of the letters are compiled and then yung bata po is i-ask po siya na i-read po yun. So ito po yung sample na reading assessment for junior CASA. As you can see, our dear parents, more on letter sounds pa lang po siya. Kasi po in junior CASA, ang mga lessons po namin about reading is about letter sounds pa lang po. But, next teacher, Bridget. Here naman po is the sample reading assessment for kindergarten. So in kindergarten po, most of the words that we ask them to read is only CBC or the 3-letter words po. So this will help the teacher know kung talagang natuto na ba yung bata. Ito na po yung nire-reflect namin sa kanilang narrative report or sa checklist. And next is the quarterly assessment. Sa quarterly assessments, our dear parents, hindi naman po kayo yung gagawa nito because the school will provide the quarterly assessment. So ito po yung sample namin ng quarterly assessments para po meron po kayong idea. So in here, kung ano po siya, our dear parents, all of the lessons na na-discuss on that quarter, sama-sama na po siya. Okay, next. So our dear parents, para just to summarize the difference between formative and summative assessment, let me tell you this quote. When the cook tastes the soup, it's formative. When the customer tastes the soup, that's summative. Okay. So, our dear friends, tandaan natin that if you want to make assessment of learning, this is summative. And if it's the assessment for learning, it's formative. Next. And now, our dear parents, meron po tayong bagong way para magbigay ng project or task sa bata. And this is the integrative performance test. As I remember po, nung nag-aaral ako, our dear parents, parang lahat, example po, we have 5 subjects. So we are required to make 5 outputs. So if we are required to make 5 outputs, grabe po yung time na binibigay ng bata. Nauubos po yung oras ng bata para lang makagawa ng 5 project po na yon. So now, ang DepEd, nakaisip siya ng integrative performance test. So dito, all of the subjects that the child will take, magkakaroon lang po siya ng isang output. Okay, so ano nga ba yung integrative performance task. So if it is inter-subject integrated performance task. So lahat ng subjects, connect po siya at magkakaroon lang po ng isang output. Next. So ito po yung merong linking concept. So ang mangyayari doon, our dear parents, isang output lang, pero lahat ng objectives ng lahat ng subject is papasok na po siya sa isang output na yun. Diba parents, parang napakagandang pakinggan na malalesen yung burden ng mga anak natin, lalong-lalo na preschoolers po yung hawak natin. So, napakagaan po sa kanila nito na hindi na sila maoobligan na gumawa ng maraming outputs per subject. So, meron po siyang real connections. Ayun po yung parang talagang na-link lahat ng subject sa isang output po na yun. Next. Ayan na po, dapat magka-link po sila. And now, I will give you an example of integrative performance task for our kids, for preschool. So, as you can see, our dear parents, ito po yung one of the performance standards. So, the subjects are there. There are 5 subjects that need to be attained, and then the performance standards per subject. And next, kailangan umisip ni parent ng isang output. Ano kayang output yung maganda na gagawin ng anak ko para mag-cap out of, makuha ko lahat ng performance standards na to. So ngayon, naisip ni teacher na gumawa ng isang vlog. So, ang naisip ni teacher na performance task is to create a vlog to introduce yourself to your classmates that you have not seen due to the pandemic. So, ang pinaka-project is, ang pinaka-output is vlog. Next. So, sa paggawa ng vlog, merong mga bagay na kailangang i-consider per subject. So, you need to come up with a vlog that include the following. Ito yung mga kailangang ma-reach ng bata. First, in literacy communication, language and literacy communication, the student should come up with a catchy introduction of the vlog. So, kailangan pag gumawa yung bata ng vlog, magkakaroon siya ng isang magandang introduction. So, pag nagawa ng bata yon, na-reach na agad natin yung sa LCC. Okay, next. Isang clip na nagpapakita ng tamang pangangalaga at pag-iingat sa katawan. So, kung yung anak po natin is nakagawa po siya ng vlog na about sa pag-aalaga ng katawan, pag-aalaga sa kanyang katawan. So, pasok na po si LCC, pasok na din si Filipino. Next, in cultural studies, one clip showing the appropriate ways on taking care of the body and preventing the spread of virus. So, pwedeng sabihin ng bata sa vlog niya na maghugas lagi ng kamay, yung mga ways na ginagawa niya para hindi siya makakuha ng virus, always wear mask when you are outside. So, pag nasabi ng bata yun sa ating vlog, is na-reach na rin niya yung standard ng cultural studies. And for edukasyon sa pagpapakatao, isang clip tungkol sa nararamdaman sa pangyayari pandemya. So, pwedeng i-share ng bata sa vlog niya ng kung ano pa yung naramdaman niya dahil sa lockdown or dahil sa pandemic na nangyayari. And then for the math, para ma-integrate natin si math, is gagawa yung bata ng house tour where you will sort your toys accordingly to their shapes, sizes, and colors. So, sasabihin lang ng bata na ganito ako mag-sort ng toys, ganito ako mag-clean up. So, sa way na yun, na-integrate na rin natin yung topic sa math, which is classifying and sorting. So, our dear parents, di ba, napakaganda na isang output na lang yung gagawin ng bata, lahat ng subject is nakuha na po. So, our dear parents, now, what if hindi talaga natin kayang i-integrate, hindi talaga natin kayang ipag-connect lahat ng subject to make one output. So, ayun po yung time na siguro kailangan na lang gumawa ng bukod na output. Pero po, ang parang nire-require po ng Sagrada here in preschool is that dahil there are just preschoolers, mas maganda po talaga na they will just have one performance task in 1/4. So, ayun po, our dear parents. Next. And also, in making the performance task, meron po tayong rubrics na kailangan gawin. O ito po yung criteria na kailangan natin gawin. Di ba po, kahit sa mga beauty contest, sa mga talent shows, kailangan may criteria na fina-follow. So, in making performance task, kailangan din natin mag-consider ng rubric or ng criteria. So, how to make a rubric? First, convert standards as criteria. Next, ask yourself what else you intend to measure. Example, gumawa yung anak natin ng vlog. So ano ba yung mga bagay na kailangan kong i-consider para mag-gradean ko yung anak ko? Okay, first, yung content. Let's say 50% na content, and then 20% yung community skills ng bata, and then 30% yung creativity. So, i-list down po natin yung mga factors na kailangan natin i-consider to grade your child. You will assign the criteria, describe indicators for each criterion, assign point values and weights. Ayun na po yung mag-a-assign kayo na, kailangan siguro pinakamataas na i-grade ko sa anak ko yung content. So, 50% na yung content. Okay, sunod, kailangan kong grade kasi dapat sobrang creative yung ginawang project ng anak ko. Okay, 30% tayo for creativity. Ganun po, our dear parents, we should always consider all the key points that we need to see to our child's output. Okay, here for our sample rubrics. So in this kind of performance task, ito po yung i-observe the teacher. So the child will name the pictures of the places in the community where we could see and meet the following people. So there, ang kailangan mga factors na i-consider natin to grade our child is if he identifies the places in school accurately, 5 points. And if he answers independently and confidently, 5 points. So ganun lang po ang sample rubrics, our dear parents. Meron po tayong mga key points na kailangan lang i-list down, na kailangan lang ma-reach ng bata, and then we will assign points. And then, pag in-add po natin yun, ayun na po yung total grade po na or score ng ating anak. Okay? Next. Okay, our dear parents, to end my discussion about our assessment here in Sagrada, I will end it with this quotation. The purpose of homeschool assessment is to show growth. The growth for our child's learning, not how well the children keep up with others. So our dear parents, since kayo po yung mag-grade sa bata, kayo po yung magbibigay ng assessment sa kanila, yung integrity po ng parents, homeschool parents, is nandoon po. So the school will trust you with all our heart po. We will trust you that you will be fair. And our dear parents, has also take note that this learning, homeschool learning, is about your child, yung kanyang learning progress, and not about the other kids. Wala po itong competition among the other kids. So it's just for your child. This assessment is for your child's learning and development. So ayun lamang po, our dear parents. Thank you for listening.
All right. Thank you, Teacher Jed, for that very insightful presentation. So, a virtual clap for Teacher Jed also. Ang ganda po. Actually, ang ganda nitong quotation na to, no? Yung saying na the purpose of homeschool assessment is to show growth, not how well children keep up with others. So, let's really focus on our children, lalo na po na nasa pre-elementary level lang po talaga sila. At wag nating isipin na, yun nga po, right now, now that you will be the facilitators of your children's learning, talaga pong yung integrity will really come in the picture. I've been telling this a lot of times ever since we met the first time nung ating June 6 parent orientation. Talagang wala pong mga mata na titingin sa inyo. So, actually, kahit po dun sa home-based e-learning program namin, talaga pong meron pong breakthrough na nangyari dito nangyari sa education dahil po dito sa pandemic na to, kahit po yung sa home-based e-learning programs natin. I believe, and I mean I strongly believe that, you know, our usual way of assessing our students' learning will never be the same. Kasi nasa bahay na rin ng mga bata. So I am very hopeful that the Department of Education will really release something that is more 21st century kind of assessment, no? Hindi na po talaga competition. Ando na po talaga yung parang ang kalaban na ng bata, or ang inspiration na lang niya is yung tinitingnan niya yung own progress niya, no? Doon siya humuhugot ng inspiration. So thank you, Teacher Jed. Grabe talaga, no? Very overwhelming. Pero again, dear parents, relax lang tayo. Pre-elementary lang to. Walang numerical grade. Teacher, speaking of grades, no? Our next resource speaker will talk about grading system. So again, relax lang. Pag grading system kasi parang na tayo, no? Parang nung traditional way talaga. Oh, sorry. Before pala grading system, I will be quickly discussing about how are we gonna, us as the homeschool provider, how are we gonna assess if there's a learning that is taking place at home. So paano naman namin i-assess yung learning ninyo? Sige, Teacher Bridge. So we just have two kinds. First, we'll do a quarterly examination. Actually, wala pa po kasi talagang ina-out yung DepEd sa amin. Kasi lalo na po sa K-12, yun nga pong nila yung pagpasok nila parang naiiba-iba na naman po ngayon. Much more dun sa assessment. But then, we are really hopeful na hindi tayo idamay ni President Duterte dun sa sinasabi nila na hindi muna August. So, yung quarterly examination po na sinasabi natin, this one, yung online, ay talagang mangyayari po ito sa elementary level. Kung hindi i-modify ng DepEd yung usual na ginagawa po ng school. However, dito naman po sa ating pre-elementary, we are eyeing on giving them mga practical, maybe practical assessments. Hindi po kami kasi nga po, they are still not yet capable of, ticking boxes online. So we understand that. So we are coming up with mga alternatives. We're thinking of options on how are we gonna make it at least more appropriate for kids. Pero definitely, meron po tayong quarterly assessment na manggagaling po sa school. Pangalawa naman po, ito na po yung talagang concrete, may konkreto na tayo na plan for this, yung family-led portfolio review. Teacher Kai, why do we need to do family-led portfolio review? As your homeschool provider, since kami po ang magpo-promote po sa inyo, we have to make sure that yung pong performance task assessment na sinasabi ni Teacher Jed kanina, kailangan po naming makita talaga na talagang yung bata ay nag-participate siya dun sa sinasabing, project or output na gagawin ninyo. So I would highly recommend, bipili po kayo ng isang PETA, pero I would highly recommend na yung ipepresent nyo dito ay yung pinaka-grand. Kunyari, meron kayong dalawa. Actually, sa JC and AC kasi tatatlo lang naman yung subject, so napakadali lang po talaga nung i-integrate. So I will really, I highly recommend that you really do your best to be able to come up with an integrated PETA. So madali lang, napakadali lang po niyan, sa totoo lang. I-integrate na po natin, ipakita natin ano yung ginawa ng bata. And then the homeschool advisor will also ask questions sa magulang and at the same time dun sa bata para makita natin, talagang ginawa niya to. So we will be using a rubrics also, just like what Teacher Jed mentioned. Sa amin naman po manggagaling yung rubrics na yun. Kayo rin po, dear parents, you have to come up with your own rubrics in order for you to be able to evaluate yung naging PETA nung anak ninyo. Simple lang po yan wag natin pa-komplikaduhin. Tapos, yun naman pong ipepresent nila na PETA meron din po kaming rubric na gagamitin para makita namin yung the way na na-present ninyo, yung laman, titingnan po natin lahat yan. Tapos magkakaroon po tayo ng feedback. Since wala po tayong numerical grade ha, dear parents, wala po tayong, puro lang po talaga tayo description ng, makikita nyo po dun sa presentation ng ating teacher sa grading system. Wala pong numerical grades na hinihingi ang DepEd sa pre-elementary level, lalong-lalo na po sa kindergarten. Wala po tayong numerical grade, inuulit-ulit ko po. Alright. So, next, Teacher Bridge. Okay, ayan na. Ayan na yung sinasabi ko pong grading system. So, relax lang again. Baka masyado tayong ma-stress dito. Sa pre-elementary, relax lang po tayo when it comes to grades. So, let me call our teacher who's been with us for 5 years already. Ito pong teacher na to, nako, kahit stress po sila ngayon sa pag-migrate ng mga lesson plans namin sa aming learning management system kasi teacher siya sa fly program, hindi pa rin halata sa kanya. So, Teacher Carla, may I call you to present our learning system? Thank you.
Yes po, good afternoon po, dear parents. Let me present my screen for a while lang po. Okay, there you go, dear parents. So, I am Teacher Carla, and I'll be discussing with you our grading system for the pre-elementary level. So, for the pre-elementary level, dear parents, as prescribed po by the Department of Education, no numerical grade. Sabi nga po ni Teacher Kai kanina, wala po tayong grade. So, paano po natin malalaman kung yung development ng anak natin? So, we're going to use this one po, dear parents. We have here the first one, the DepEd card. Ano yung DepEd card, dear parents? This one po ay galing po sa Department of Education. And this report card is to inform you about your child's learning achievement based on the kindergarten curriculum guide. So you can see po, dear parents, each competency will be marked po. We have po the beginning, we use letter B for beginning, D for developing, C for consistent, and NA for not assessed. This is what we call the rating scale description. Ano po ba yung mga competency, ano ba yung mga scale na ito? First one, we have the beginning. Pag sinabi po natin beginning, dear parents, ito po yung with maximum supervision galing po sa inyo. Yung nakikita nyo po na hindi pa talaga nila kayang gawin ang isang specific na domain. For example, next one po, we have the developing. Sa developing naman po, makikita po natin na with minimum assistance na lang po yung nangyayari po. Kunwari, meron tayong papagawa sa anak natin with minimum assistance na po. And pag sa letter C po, consistent, ito po yung they can work independently na hindi na po kailangan ng tulong galing kay mommy or kay daddy or even kay ate or kuya. And lastly, we have NA po or not assessed. Competency not assessed this quarter. Ibig sabihin po, hindi pa po siya nalilesson or natatakal for this specific quarter. So, let's proceed naman po. Okay, we have different domains of development, dear parents. First one, we have the health, well-being, and motor development. Next is the social-emotional development. And under the LLC or the language, literacy, and communication, we have the listening and viewing, speaking, reading, writing, and also the mathematics, and lastly, understanding the physical and natural environment. So let's get started po sa health, well-being, and motor development. As you can see po, dear parents, we have here the quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. So we're going to do it quarterly po. So if you still remember, we have po the beginning, the developing, consistent, and not assessed. So usually, dear parents, kapag kami po yung nag-check ng checklist na to or ina-assess po namin yung mga bata, during the first quarter po, we usually use B. beginning po. And then for the following quarter, for example po, demonstrates health habit that keep one clean and sanitary. So that pag dito, minsan beginning. So, if ever naman po na the following quarter, makikita mo naman na talagang nag-develop siya na kaya na niya yung sarili niya, and then with minimum assistance, na we can use naman po developing. And then sa third quarter po, makikita niyo na talagang hindi na siya humihingi ng tulong from you. We can use naman po consistent. So yung NA po, ang sabi ko nga po earlier, yung NA po, ginagamit po natin yan kapag sa specific quarter na to, hindi po natin natackle yung lesson. So halimbawa po, ang lesson natin for this quarter ay addition. So, during first quarter po kasi hindi po natin siya na lesson. So, ang i-write po na ni Teacher Bridge ay NA. And dear parents, yung DepEd card po na to, we will give you a soft copy and then you will put your inputs po dito. And Teacher Bridge will do the final checking po. Okay po? So, let's proceed naman po sa second domain. We have here the social-emotional development po. So, here naman po, same process, dear parents, paulit-ulit po, beginning, developing, consistent, and not assess. So, sa social-emotional, more on feelings po, kung kaya niya pong i-identify yung members of one's family, and na-express po niya yung mga interests and needs niya. So, same process, beginning, developing, consistent, and not assess. Ganon naman din po sa ating third domain under the language, literacy, and communication, the listening and viewing. Okay po, we have here the listening and viewing skills po, kung they can relate story events to personal experiences. We can use letter B or maybe developing. Kung halimbawa sa third quarter talagang kaya na niya, consistent na po. And next one po, we have here naman the speaking skill, more on language po. Same process, dear parents, beginning, developing, consistent, and not assess. And we have here the reading. The next domain po is more on reading, if she or he can identify the sounds of letters, and also if they can distinguish words that rhyme, more on reading skills naman po, dear parents. So, mostly, on this quarter, may mga bata po talaga na dito pa lang talaga nagsisimula sila. For example, sa advanced CASA, beginning po sila when it comes sa identifying the letter sounds kasi medyo nalilito pa. And then halimbawa sa kinder, pwede naman na po natin gamitin yun. Even sa first quarter, mag-developing na po tayo kasi before naman po kasi sila mag-kindergarten, we are making sure na they can read naman po sa helper sound, CBC, and CVCC. So, same process po, dear parents, beginning, consistent, and developing. And then, next one po is the writing skills naman po. Under po niyan, more on writing, more on pagsusulat po. Kaya niyang isulat yung name niya without copying from your examples, and then kaya niyang i-write yung lowercase and uppercase letters. So, kailangan din po natin makita yung development ng ating anak pagdating sa writing skills. And then, next, we have po the mathematics. So, dito po pumapasok yung colors, shapes, numbers po, and even yung halimbawa po, time. So, usually, as you can see, meron po tayo dito time. So, first quarter and second quarter, NA po ang nilalagay namin yan kasi usually, ang time telling po namin ay pumapasok po siya sa third quarter. So, same process, paulit-ulit po, beginning, developing, consistent, and not assess. But don't worry, dear parents. Sabi ko nga po, Teacher Bridget will do the final checking po for our checklist. Ito din po. We have po the simple addition problems, the subtraction problems. Now, we always put NA, the competencies not assessed this quarter. during the first and second. And then, third quarter, we can use beginning, consistent, developing po. And even po sa recognizing the points and the bills. And lastly, we have the understanding the physical and natural environment. More on surroundings naman po ito. So dito, dear parents, we can use developing na po even sa first quarter kasi alam naman po ng kids yung kinds ng weather, yung body parts nila, and their function. So this is the DepEd card po. So the beginning, the developing, the consistent, yun po yung mga rating scale po natin for this checklist. So ano yung pangalawa? This is what we call the Philippine Early Childhood Development Checklist, or this is what we call the ECCD. Usually, dear parents, ang ECCD lang po kasi ginagamit po ng kindergarten. Etong checklist din na po, checklist na to, dito din po pumapasok yung summary po ng kanilang learning performance all throughout the school year. So dito po sa ECCD, we have different domains: the gross motor, the fine motor, the self-help domain, receptive language, expressive language, the cognitive, and the social-emotional. Kung makikita nyo, parang kamukha lang din po sa DepEd, pero may naiba naman po dito sa ECCD. By the way, ang ECCD po ay galing po yan, galing po yan sa Department of Education. So this is our ECCD checklist po. And then, okay po, each item observed are recorded 2 times within a school year. Una po at the start, and then yung pangalawa po at the end of the school year. So usually, lagi po itong first quarter and fourth quarter. And then we have here po the POR or the POR. It means P po pag present, the child can do the task. O, observe, the child was observed doing the task. R, report given by parents or caregiver about the skill. Kasi, dear parents, meron po kasing mga skills po na kayo lang po yung nakakakita and sa bahay laging ginagawa. So, we are giving copy po, and then we will ask you to put a check or a dash, kasi po doon po namin malalaman kung nagagawa ba ng bata yung for example yung specific skill na to sa start ng school year, and then titingnan namin kung at the end of the school year kung kaya na po niyang gawin yon on his own. So this is the sample po for the gross motor domain. As you can see po, meron po tayong P, present, O, observe, and R po yung given by the parents. So halimbawa, dear parents, yung anak niyo po can climb on chair or other elevated piece of furniture. So nakita po natin present yon, or the child can observe doing the task. We will put a check naman po. So it can be sa P o sa R, and then kapag hindi or pwede naman po sa POR, and then kapag halimbawa po hindi niya po kayang mag-walk backwards or run without tripping or falling, we will use dash naman po. For example, here po. Ayan po. So, and then, after po neto, may mga different categories po yan hanggang umabot po tayo sa dulo ng domain po na yon. Makikita nyo po dito na may total score. So, halimbawa, dear parents, ang score niya po ay 12. Saan ko nakuha yung 12 na yan? Yung sa check po na ginawa natin kanina. Kung halimbawa, nagawa niya lahat nung yung mga skills na nandito. So, bibilangin po natin yung check na meron dito sa specific domain. So, halimbawa po, 12 po yung nakuha niya. Ilalagay po natin yung 12 dito po sa tapat ng gross motors. Ito po yung raw score natin. Don't worry, dear parents. Teacher Bridget will do this computation naman po for the score. I'm just showing it to you kung paano po natin nakuha or paano natin nakita kung nag-develop talaga yung skills nung anak po natin. So, ito po, halimbawa, sa gross motor po, nakakuha tayo ng 12. Ano yung skilled score nung 12 na yan. This one po ay galing din po to sa Department of Education, sa DepEd. Ang skill score po ng 12 ay 7. Ayan po. So, kukunin po natin yung 7, lalagay po natin siya sa skill score. Ganon din po sa mga domain, sa fine motor, sa self-help domain, hanggang sa makarating na po tayo sa dito po, sa sum of skill scores. Yung raw score po, yung mga check po na nakuha natin, yung nilagay nyo po sa ating checklist. Skill score, yung equivalent skill score po na galing sa DepEd. So, yung 67, we just put them all together po. Inag-add po natin, and then the total or the sum of skill score po ay 67. So, paano po natin makukuha yung standard score na 67. So, this one po ay galing din po ulit sa DepEd. So, ang 67, ang kanyang standard score ay 92. So, we will put it here. So, the standard score of your child po for this evaluation is 92. So, makikita po natin sa second evaluation, kasi uulitin po ulit natin siya, dear parents. Sabi ko nga po, di ba, ang first evaluation, start po ng school year, and ang sumunod na evaluation at the end of the school year. So, dapat po, sa second evaluation, yung 92, mas tumaas po para po makita natin na nag-develop siya. And then, ito po yung interpretation po nun. Bakit natin, saang interpretation kabilang yung anak nyo. 92 po, 80 to 119. Ibig sabihin po, average overall development po. Halimbawa po, 70 to 79 lang ang nakuha. Ang overall development po must be monitored after 6 months. Same po sa 69 and below, 3 months naman po. So, this is the interpretation po ng ating ECCD card. So, halimbawa po, yung 80 to 80, okay pa po yun, average overall development. So, the following evaluation, sa second evaluation po natin, dapat po, mas tumaas po siya. It can be from 99, it can be 100, as long as na tataas po siya para nakita po natin na nag-develop. And kasama din po sa ECCD card natin ay yung graph. Saan ko po nakuha yung mga numbers na to? Kinuha ko po ito, dear parents, dito po sa ating skill score. Dinrap ko lang po siya. So, 7, 8, 9, 11. Ito po yun. 7, 8, 9, 11. Dinrap ko po siya, dear parents. And then, lastly, we have here po the average development, 92. We will just put across to indicate na 92 po siya. So, this is the ECCD card for the pre-elementary level, dear parents. So, sabi ko nga po, no numerical rate po for the pre-elementary level, and the score po the checklist, you will put your inputs po, you will do it sa bahay, we will just provide a soft copy, and Teacher Bridget po will do the final checking po. And before I end my presentation, dear parents, there is no school equal to a decent home and no teacher equal to a virtuous parents. Thank you so much and welcome aboard.
Wow, thank you. Virtual clap for Teacher Carla. Thank you, Teacher Carla, no?
Thank you.
So, kita nyo po, talagang yung pong ginawa, actually yung sa kinder po kasi talagang medyo tedious siya in the end of the teachers, lalo na po nung pinasok nung DepEd, tong ECCD checklist na to eh. So yung naging requirement po kasi yung ECCD checklist sa kinder, since yung kinder po kasi ay kasama sa K-12. So we really have to comply dun sa requirement na binigay nila sa amin. Dati po kasi ay iisa lang talaga yung aming card. Alright, thank you Teacher Carla. So hindi ko na po masyado ring patatagalin, no? Right now, Teacher Bridge will briefly give us a walkthrough of the use of our learning management system. So yung learning management system, ito rin po yung exactly the same na learning management system na ginagamit po namin sa home-based e-learning program po namin, which are the Fly, Sagradan, and the SAFE program. So basically, ang LMS, ito po ang magiging communication platform po natin para you don't need to come to school to submit, or hindi na po kailangan ding email, kasi mas magiging maganda po na meron tayong sariling learning management system so that we can, tailor fit it according to the needs of our program, at least this Play Sagradan program. So here with me is our ever cooperative, talagang kahit anong sabihin ko kay Teacher Bridge, lahat ng imposible nagagawa ng posible kahit ang konti ng time namin. Talagang she's really doing a lot of things with Blair. Thank you, Teacher Bridget. So, Teacher Bridget, can you please tell us about this learning management system and show us how are we going to access the curriculum guide through this LMS?
Okay, so thank you, Teacher Kai, for that warm introduction, and welcome, everyone. So for the LMS, let me show you how we will navigate our learning management system, or yes, the LMS. So first, just go to your web browser, dear parents, and then type in mbsf, okay, lms.com, and then enter. Okay, so this is our home page. This is how it looks like. So just log in the credentials that were given to you by our school registrar. So type your username, your password, and then hit login. Okay, now, dear parents, you are seeing your child's dashboard. So you will see here in the dashboard the course where your child is enrolled to. For example, let's assume that your child is enrolled to Play program, kindergarten level. So just click on this course. Okay, and inside it is the information, following information about the course. So the name of the teacher, the contact email, and the contact number. We also have here some buttons. The first button is the announcement. So if you want to know about the new updates and announcements about our Play program, just click on this button. We also have the calendar. For the calendar, okay, let's take a look. Okay, so you'll be seeing here the different important dates, yeah, to remember. Okay, and then later on, I will be showing you the dates, the important dates to remember for our school year 2020 and 2021. So for the consultation hours, okay, I'm available at 10:15 to 11 a.m. and 2:45 to 3:30 p.m. And if you wish to confer with your child's advisor, please set an appointment. Just message me at Bridget Rose Ronquillo at mbsf.edu.ph. Okay, and we also have here the first quarter. Inside the first quarter, you will see the different subjects, all the subjects that your child has. For the kinder level, we have language, literacy, and communication, math, cultural studies, Filipino, and edukasyon sa pagpapakatao. And for us to view the curriculum guide, dear parents, this is, we've been telling you na ipoprovide po namin sa inyo ang curriculum guide. So, just click on the subjects below. Okay, so inside it, you will see this link, the link. And once you click on this one, it will automatically be downloaded into your computer. Now, let's look at the sample curriculum guide for the LLC, Language, Literacy, and Communication, for the kindergarten level. So again, dear parents, curriculum guide, this is a structured document that contains lessons and academic content that we will use to organize and for us to teach a specific subject. So you will see here the content standard, excuse me, the performance standard, the content, and the learning competencies that your child has to learn or to acquire in each subject area within the quarter. Okay, so dear parents, we meet the minimum competencies required by the DepEd. But since we are a private institution, we enrich the curriculum especially po sa GC and AC level na talagang ang ating mga teachers ay nag-customize pa in order for us to better understand yung mga tina-target nating competencies. Ayan. So, ito po yun. Yan ang ating sample. Okay, so that's how we can download the files, okay, the documents that you need sa ating homeschooling journey. And aside from downloading, there will be times, dear parents, that mag-a-ask kami sa inyo to submit your formative assessment or summative assessment, or the pictures or videos na just to give us an evidence na talagang you are having that study time at home. Okay? So with your kids. So in order for us to upload this outputs, okay? So let me just switch my role to student. Okay? So you can see how the course will look like from your end. Okay. There. So just click on this one. Okay, and then hit add submission. Okay, dear parents, if it's a picture, all you need to do is just drag and drop the files here. Example, this one. Just drag it, okay, and drop, and that's it. Save changes. Okay. So, ayan po, dear parents, you're now able to submit your output to us. And we also require you, dear parents, to use Google Drive. Okay, look at this one. So, please make sure that your MDSF account is signed in. Okay, and then tap this icon and then the drive. This is for the compilation purposes po. Yan, para everything is organized po tayo. Yan, so make a folder intended for the Play Sagradan program only. So name it Play Sagradan. And create. Okay, dear parents, so just upload the files here. Click New, File Upload. Okay, so let's pretend that these are your outputs. So this one, this one. Okay, and then upload. Okay, so after you upload these outputs in your Google Drive, just right-click. If ito pong important dates to remember yung ipapasok talaga natin, kailangan natin ibigay kila teacher sa LMS. So get the shareable link. Okay, and for the restrictions, dear parents, please change it to anyone with the link so everyone can view the file. Okay, and don't forget to copy the link kasi ito po yung i-attach ninyo doon sa ating LMS. Then go back. Okay, so we have options here. You may edit or remove your submission. So let's just edit. Okay, and if it's a link, dear parents, please do not forget this icon. This is very important. Okay, this is the link icon. Just tap this one and paste the URL here. Open a new window and then create link. Okay, there. Save changes. There. Okay. So, dear parents, you're now able to share the file from your Google Drive. Okay. So, the teachers, the homeschool advisor can now check and see kung talagang nag-submit po kayo at matatrack din namin yung mga files, yung output that your child will complete all throughout the school year. So, that's it. That's how we can download and upload our materials using the LMS. So let me just share you the important dates to remember, just like what I said a while ago. Okay, for the important dates to remember, dear parents, feel free to screenshot. Ayan po, bigyan ko kayo ng time, 1 minute. Para po picturean ninyo. Ayan. So, these dates are still tentative because meron nga po, ang ating sitwasyon ngayon ay paiba-iba, unpredictable talaga. So, biglang nagkaka-announcement tayo from the LGU or the national government. So, at least, you can already mark your calendars and you will know kung ano yung mga dates and upcoming events na gagawin po natin for this school year. Okay, so we have quarterly exam, family-led portfolio review, parent training workshop, and virtual meeting. So that's all, dear parents. I hope talagang naintindihan niyo po, naunawaan niyo po because this LMS is a very user-friendly naman po siya. And if you are hesitant to navigate, okay, just feel free to ask me or Teacher Kai. So anytime po, we will make ourselves available for you. So that's all. Thank you so much, dear parents and teachers.
All right. Thank you. Virtual clap for Teacher Bridget. Nako, no, talaga pong makikita natin. Actually, siya po ang ating person in charge sa learning management system. So thank you again, Teacher Bridget, for that walkthrough. So now, ito na po yung ating grand finale. Ito na po yung our last speaker but not the least. Kanina po in our introduction, I mentioned that this, our guest speaker is so close to my heart personally, no? Dahil po siya po ay isang kaibigan na isa rin po siya sa talagang nag-introduce sa akin ng concept ng homeschooling. At dahil sa kilala ko po ang kanyang pamilya, silang mag-asawa at ang kanyang mga anak, nakita po namin kung paano din makisalamuha yung mga batang ito. Talaga pong makikita natin na they are being raised by, good role models na mga parents na talagang nilalagay sila sa path na dapat na nandun sila. So, hindi ko na po patatagalan, So, I would like to present to you our dear parents, a homeschooling mom for 8 years, tama ba? And counting, I'm sure, mukhang medyo matagal-tagal pa niyang i-homeschool ang mga bata dahil baka pati siya mismo nagkaroon ng separation anxiety. Masyado na niyang na-enjoy ang pag-homeschool. So, without further ado, let me present to you a dear friend, Mrs. Joy Likud. Mrs. Joy.
Thank you, Kai. Thank you so much for that introduction. Na-pressure naman ako. Good afternoon, late afternoon na pala to the dear parents and to MDSF family. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share with you something that is very dear to my heart, and that is homeschool. Like I said, I have been homeschooling for 8 years now, and I have two kids. My son is 13. He just finished grade 7, and my daughter is 10, and she just finished grade 4. They have been homeschooled all their lives. Well, all their school, I guess all their lives, because really, like earlier, you mentioned that the school starts at home. And so they have been homeschooled all their lives. And I just love it. It's really dear to my heart. So what I'm going to share to you is really something that I am passionate about, and is something that I really, really believe in. Now, okay, so I'm going to talk about jumpstarting your homeschool journey. This is really practical ways, practical tips on how you can start. I know that throughout this lesson, throughout this meeting, if you have not done homeschool and if this is your first time, a lot of these information can be overwhelming and nakaka-anxious, di ba? Nakaka-nervyos pag ang daming information, you're trying to absorb everything. But I just want to encourage you to take heart. All good things takes time, right? And one of them is homeschooling. And because your children are preschool, medyo wala pa tayong nakikitang, oh, hindi pa yung mga progress because they're just starting school. But later on, you will be able to witness na, ang galing pala nung, kasi nakikita mo, right in front of you how they're growing. Like my son is now 13, pero I can still remember when we first started homeschool, it was a challenge. Pero ngayon, mas ano ko na, gamay ko na yung how my son is, his attitude, his character, and what he likes. Okay, so let's jump start in our topic for today. So I have 8 points, and this is 1 point for every year that I have been homeschooling. And number one is to pray. The first thing that I always do when I wake up in the morning is to pray. And I pray most especially for any homeschool days that I have. I want to read to you something from the Bible. It's in Philippians chapter 4, verse 6. And this is what it reads. It says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God." So that just means that because we know that homeschooling is such a very important part of our lives now, and our children is very dear to us. We love them so much. We need help. We need all the help that we can get so that we can train them and teach them so that they will grow up to be the man and woman that God wants them to be. So let's just pray. Let's ask God, Lord, tulungan mo naman akong araw na to. Napakahirap ng subjects, or napakahirap nung, ang kulit nung baby ko ngayon, or, things like that. It's very important for us to ask God for help. And also, when there's milestones that you reach, or victories, or accomplishments that you make, you thank God for that. Kasi you asked Him for help, diba? And then He gave it to you. So it's important that we give that thanks back to Him because He helped us. So any opportunity to pray and give our thanks to God, we should do it. So, and also let's thank God for this opportunity to train the next leaders. Okay, so that's number one. Okay, number two. Now, number two is review the rules and regulations of the school that you are enrolled in. Now, because MDSF has done all the research and all the work for you, the hard work is done. When I first started homeschool, I was an independent homeschooler, and I needed to know the laws of the land. I didn't know my kids kasi were enrolled in Canada, so I had to know the rules and regulations. Paano ba mag-grading? Paano ba ako magsasubmit? Nakakaloka. But MDSF has done that for us. So they're such a blessing. So, virtual clap for them, because you don't have to do that work. You don't have to do that research anymore. They have done it. While listening to Teacher K and Teacher Jen, I'm like, ay, grabe, napakahirap po ng trabaho ng mga teachers. So let's appreciate them, and let's thank God for MDSF kasi they've done the work. And also another point here is know who to ask if you have any questions. I'm pretty sure that throughout this information download that's happening, you have a lot of questions. So it's important for us to know who to contact, and where to go, so that we have that information. One thing that I keep so that I have all the information that I need is my homeschool notebook. I've probably gone through 3 notebooks na ganitong kakapal all my homeschool journey, and everything that I need is in here. Any contact info, or anything that I've learned, they are all here. I was actually taking notes earlier, and I learned about virtual learner, yung mga ganun. Although I've heard it from the past, pero it's good. It's a good refresher course, and auditory learner, yung mga ganon. So I was taking notes of all that, and it's important for us to have a notebook. Or if you're like me, I like writing notes. Your phone is good. It's a good tool to use for your notes, but kasi you use your phone for so many other things. But this notebook, its only purpose is to house all my homeschool ideas, any arts. Teacher Kay, I think, was mentioning about art projects, and so when I'm trying to create my ideas, I put it all in here. I have it all in here, and then I type it out. Hindi kasi ako techie, so I like the notebook. So something that it's a good no, it was a good tool for me. Maybe it'll work for you, maybe not. Okay lang. Okay. So point number 3 is schedule your days. Ayan. So ito yung siguro yung pinakaayaw ko kasi it changes. It varies from every year, it changes. Every day sometimes it changes. But having a routine is healthy, and it minimizes stress and any delay. So if you know what you're going to do that day, then you'll know if you have succeeded, or if you have accomplished, or if you're lacking in anything, or medyo may delay. The idea of homeschool is, this is something that I love also, is that we don't want to force the homeschool into your lifestyle. The homeschool schedule has to fit our lifestyle. So, for example, I'm a morning person, but my children, they're not. So they will start their homeschool at after lunch na, after they've done their routines, their workout, their ay, mga TV watching sometimes. So we've tried to fit in that homeschool to our lifestyle. So if I could just show you an example of my schedule right now, in school. Okay, so Mondays, because my husband works at church, his day off is Monday lang. So he's very busy on the weekend. Saturday, Sunday is the busiest days of his work day. So Monday is an opportunity for us to be together. Walang homeschool, or walang sitting down to do books and assignment. It's just family day. So essentially, my kids have had 3-day weekends every week for almost 8 years, which is something that I love, because it's we can be flexible. So on Mondays we'll have a family day, or we'll have field trips. Last year, the highlight of our field trips was going to Malacanang with other homeschool parents, with other homeschool kids, and it was fun. It was a good learning experience for all the kids. And then I don't want to go through all the things here on the schedule, but I do want to point out that because my kids are in grade 5 na, and grade 8, turning into grade 5, grade 8, their homeschool is actually 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours. But during the preschool days, really, I only spent 30 minutes with them doing official school. And everything else is submitting their grades or submitting their works. But 30 minutes of official schooling is all really, that's the acceptable rate, because they're preschool. They are going to want to play, they're going to want to do arts and other things. So preschool, it was easy. It was a breeze for me with the kids, sitting down with them 30 minutes, learning the numbers, learning the colors, and learning the letters. It was really fun. So I'm very very excited for you to go through this process of this of learning. Okay, number four. Now, number four, like I said again, preschool is very easy. Some of you, you don't even have to go through the curriculum kasi lahat yon alam na natin. ABCs, the one, two, threes, the colors, and all these things. So think about what your children will need to be learning and focus on. So when my son was in kindergarten, I so the goals were very easy. Like I said, right? Parang as long as he knows the numbers from 1 to 100, he knows all the colors. So after those goals were met, he wanted to go further. He wanted to learn addition, or he wanted to learn how to read bigger books. Sabi ko, parang ayoko siyang madaliin, because I don't want to deprive him of the joy of being a kindergarten. But I realized that my son, he likes to learn. He wants to, like, he's a reader. He's not artistic, so that's mainly his thing. He likes to read. He likes history lessons. He likes memorizing. Hindi ako yon. Hindi sa akin nagmana. Pero I realized that he wanted to learn more. Now, if your child is like that, then good for you. That's such an amazing opportunity for you to expand your horizon with your child. Meanwhile, yung daughter ko naman, grade 1 na siya. No, 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 mag-grade 2 na siya, hindi pa siya nagbabasa. So as you can see, it was very frustrating for me as a parent with one child na sobrang very learning, straight to the T, lagi yung like pag may goal, he wants to reach it. But my daughter, bless her heart, ang dami naming away, dami naming mga, dami ko nagagalit. But then I realized that that she's a visual learner. She doesn't like she likes arts. She likes singing and slimes, and she's the best drawer out of all the four of us. So I had to know my child through the process, which is very exciting because you have this opportunity to be with them through their home life. Ngayon naman, pati yung school life nila, itatackle natin. So like I said, when doing your student learning plan, when I'm doing my learning plan, I put it on my notebook first, and then so I'll write Snow doesn't sit down for 2 hours, but Air will read, and then I'll put it in paper, or I'll type it out. I'll type it down para mas organized. And if I could just show you quickly what my learning plan looks like, I will have all the subjects there. I will have a personal goal, so I will always have a goal. My goal is for Snow to read. So I'll bring out. I'll invest in books, and I'll sign up for online classes. Or I'll be more patient with her because I was getting impatient with her. But then I'll tell you a little bit later on how I was able to manage her not being reading that much, right? And during the learning plan, I like what Teacher K was talking about of art, about being creative. Kasi po hindi ako creative, and I had to learn, and the technology right now is very accessible. So Pinterest, Google, YouTube, TikTok even, and Facebook has videos. There's so many ways for us to be creative, and it will bring out the creativity in us and also our children. So you can do that as well. So during preschool, syempre, preschool, grade school, hanggang grade 5, I think, I was very hands-on with my children. na pag nag-aaral sila, magkatabi kami para nakikita ko yung ginagawa nila. But now, when my son was in grade 6 and grade 7, he was self-studying. He was able to go into, I had to teach him how to do the LMS kasi LMS yun yung ginagamit namin. And he does that all by himself. So when it's school time, right at 12:30, he'll sit down on his laptop and he'll have his headphones on and he'll sit down for 2 hours and tapos na siya. Tapos na yung school niya. And then he'll do another subject later on. And what another an important thing that I taught my son because he self-study is integrity. I told him that when he's doing quizzes, it's important for him not to open his books or not to do research because although we want him to have the right answers, but we want him to have, more importantly, a better character. So while you are rearing your children, you're building up their character as well because they are going to be um, using those lessons that you're teaching them into the future, into grade school, into high school and college, and then later on in life when they work. And right now, yung foundation ng preschoolers natin is very essential because everything that they get from preschools, they're like sponge, diba? Like they absorb everything. So every moment that I get a chance, I input wisdom in my kids and I'll put that in my learning plan as well. Okay, input wisdom. And ako rin, natututo rin ako sa mga sinasabi ko. Ayun. So, okay. So, number 5. Okay. Ano na lang? 4 points na lang. Prepare a special place dedicated to homeschool. Okay, this is really fun. I live in a very small, compact place. I have a 77 square meter condo unit. Napakaliit lang. Nag-transform. During school hours, my house transforms into a classroom. So it could be any place in your house. So my living room, because I have 2 kids, so sometimes they don't want to share the dining room. So one is in the living room and one is here in the dining room. I'm actually in the dining room right now, and my desk is right now full of books because I want to show you some stuff later on. Now, this dining table, it transforms from plates to pencils, from forks to crayons. And it's exciting because once I bring out my bin, my homeschool bin, my kids know, they know that, ano na, homeschool time na. And it's important to have this routine or this change of environment for the kids so that they will, muscle memory nila, okay, homeschool na, naglabas na si mommy ng bin or naglabas na siya ng uh, arts and crafts or whatever or books, and it's important too kasi I'm their mom. Another challenge that I had is I'm their mom and I'm also their teacher, so I have essentially 2 hats. And when sometimes what I'll ask them to do or what I'll do is I'll wear an outside outfit even though I'm at home so that they'll recognize na, oh, mom is wearing her teacher hat, so we have to listen. Pero ngayong grade 7, grade 5 na sila, I don't have to do that kasi na-ingrain na sa utak nila na mommy is my mom and also my teacher. But during preschool and kindergarten, these are your creative times. So you can do, mag-role play kayo ng anak mo, ikaw yung principal, and then he's on detention, or he has to write 50 lines. Mga ganun. So it kind of feels like a traditional school, but at the same time, it's more creative in a way kasi you're the mom and you're doing school things. Okay, so let's move on now to number 6. The point number 6 is start investing in books. So like I said, I have a very small house, pero I have 4 bookshelves, and it's here by the dining room. There's 2 by the hallways, and then another big one in the kids' room. And because I invested in books, my daughter, I told you earlier that she wasn't able to read until she was 7 years old, and because I was getting frustrated na hindi siya nagbabasa, nagagalit ako sa kanya, and then it was no, it was like a battle that I didn't know how to fight until I realized na I can't force reading to her kasi hindi pa siya ready. And now some of your preschoolers are probably reading, some of your preschoolers, your child, your children are probably writing and they know how to write their names, they know how to read, but maybe some of you have struggles like me. Yung hindi pa nagbabasa, walang interest sa pencil and notebook, it's okay. It's okay because they will eventually learn. You will give them avenues. So what I did was I invested in books, and my daughter will find it very appealing. Na, oh, it's colorful and there's pictures. You don't want to buy your preschool um, books na puro letters or puro story, walang pictures. It's not ano, it's not conducive in that kind of environment. But you wanna also what you wanna invest on is books that they are interested in. Let me just share quickly. My son is a reader. He will read 20 books in like 2 months. He's a kind of he's a kind of person. Anyway, we bought this book for him, Chronicles of Narnia. And if you have seen the movies, so he's read this. I told my son, he read this I think when he was in grade um, 4 or 5. So by that time, my daughter was ano na, grade 1, eh ayaw pa niyang basa, pero nakikita niya yung kuya niya nagbabasa, and she'll ask me questions, Mom, I don't know, I don't wanna read that kasi puro naman talaga, kita mo naman yung mga sulat, sobrang liliit, right? So I looked for a book that she can relate with her kuya. She was in grade 1 at this time. So I found this book. So Chronicles of Narnia din siya. But when you open it, it's full of colors. I don't know if you can see. It's full of colors and it's very interactive. Tapos may mga pop-up pa siya. So she became very interested in books, and especially now that we're in quarantine, I think when they read books, it takes them to other places, like when they're reading chocolate Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, it takes them to Willy Wonka's factory, or if they're reading Charlotte's Web, or other things. It's really good in any case. Reading books is very essential in school. They get to imagine, they get to learn a lot of things. Okay, so if you can buy one book a month, then wow, that's a great investment. This book that I showed you, I got it on sale. Actually, this was originally 875. 275 ko lang siya nakuha. O, di ba? Steal. Okay. Okay, number 7, and this is my second to the last point. Connect with other homeschool families. This is very important to me because I cannot do this by myself. It's hard enough to do homeschool by yourself, right? I want to be able to connect with other homeschool moms. So, like I told you earlier, diba? I went to Malacanang Palace with other homeschool moms, and then we got to learn together. And when you're doing it together, you're learning. You're ano, nare-realize mo na, oh, I'm not just the one going through it. Or you learn tips on how to do things, and it just makes homeschool more enjoyable. You're building relationships, your kids get to socialize, and ngayong pandemic, we even get to do Zoom calls, and just encouraging one another. Ito yung ginagawa ko, and I just want to share that with you. Ganon. And maybe even in this broadcast, or this meeting, you can connect with those moms and dads so that you can learn from each other. Okay, so last point is, don't forget playtime. Now, because you have preschoolers and little students, it's very important to play. We have blocks, nung preschool, blocks and dolls and paper dolls, Barbie like it brings out the child in you when we're playing. And when we play, for example, when my children were young, or well, Air, I didn't have a problem with him in school, because he's a really good learner, ganun yung ano niya, learning style niya. But with my daughter, she will want to take a break every 5 minutes. So konting school and then break. So we'll play. So every time we're in school with her, I'll have a box of toys so that she knows that okay, 5 minutes of school and then toys. Kaya matagal yung preschool time namin, siguro mga isang oras kasi break siya ng break. Pero it's fun. It's fun to see your child imagine, siya yung nagsasalita when she's doing the playing with the dolls. Siya yung nag-i-imagine, and then you get to witness your child grow in front of you, and then she'll tell you what her favorite thing is about that play. Ultimately, really, what we want, and all these 8 points that I just shared, I know it might not work for you, the things that I said, but it might work for you. So I hope that I have given you some ideas on how to jumpstart your homeschool. But ultimately, the reason why the reason why I homeschool is to build character in my children. The Bible says we should train up a child in the way that they should go so that when they are old or when they grow up, they're in the real world, they will not depart from your teaching. And right now is the best time to build a strong foundation for your children. Yes, it's going to be hard. It's going to be complicated kasi ang daming instructions on how to grade and how to manipulate the things that we need to do, the house chores, the homeschool. But I'm telling you, it's so worth it because you are teaching the next generation leaders of our nation, maybe the next doctors or the next lawyers, the next teachers. Maybe sila yung susunod na Teacher K or Teacher Jed or Teacher Kai, right? And so it's important for us to be able to give them the right nurturing so that you're enjoying it and hindi sila your children are also not stressed. It's important for you to tayong lahat, tayong mga house parent, mga homeschool parents na mag-playtime din because that is self-care. Ayun. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening to me. I hope that I have I hope that you have learned something from all the things that I said. But ultimately, you are the teacher of your children, and we want the best for our children, right? So, ayun lang po. Maraming salamat.
Virtual clap for Mrs. Joy Likod. Wow, grabe talaga, no? Iba po talagang mag-cap off ng session si Mrs. Joy. Actually, this morning talagang yung mga parents po namin, ang feedback talaga nila, sobrang na-inspire sila. May, kumbaga, meron na press na button talaga si Mrs. Joy Likod sa kanila dahil talagang tingnan niyo naman po, no, who would have thought Mrs. Joy has been homeschooling for 8 years. Sabi nga po niya, simula nung nag-aral talaga yung mga anak nila, talagang siya na yung nagturo at nako, I assure you dear parents, ayan po yung isa niyang anak na si Air. So, pag
Air would like to say something.
Sige, wow!
This is my son, he's 13. Ayan, just quickly anak, what do you love about homeschool?
You sit at your own pace. There's no one rushing you, and there's no homework.
Wow!
Ayan, this is Teacher Kai. Ayan, thank you!
Hi, Air! Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you, Air.
Alright.
Hiya
Thank
siya.
you. Oo nga, medyo nahiya siya. Thank you, Mrs. Joy. So, sabi ko pa nga po, well, pati yung pangalawa niya si Air, when you meet her, sobrang sweet. Yun nga I was actually si Mrs. Joy Likod, whenever we talk about homeschooling, talagang nandun din, na-inspire niya ako na more than the academic skills, not to devalue academic skills. It's really our relationship with our children is more important. Yun po ang aanoin natin. Katulad po na sinabi ni Mrs. Joy Licod kanina na there will be times na parang you don't feel like, teaching and being the teacher of your children for today. So, hinga muna, kailangan may breather. Sabi nga, we cannot pour from an empty cup. Kailangan full tayo. And I assure you, our dear parents, na for as long as doon natin kukunin sa taas, yung ating driving force, yung which is really part of my closing remarks. Kasi as I do my closing remarks, I would also like to share with you a book that we were able to read. This book helped us, kami pong mag-asawa, to easily, decide on whether we are going to give this homeschooling a try. So, ito pong book na to, napakaganda. Ang title nito is Why You Should Homeschool. It was written by Mr. and Mrs. Eccd Mendoza. So they are a couple who's been homeschooling their 6 children for 14 years, if I'm not mistaken. So dito po an excerpt of this book. The Mrs. Joy Mendoza shared about, teacher, can you please go to the next slide? Knowing your why. Because when you know your why, your how will follow. So, sa lahat po ng mga pinag-usapan natin, parents, mula dun sa kaninang tinakal namin na learning plans, and then assessment, grading system, and then kahit yung mga shinare ni Mrs. Licod na mga jump-starting tips, kung hindi natin alam yung why natin, if we do not know the reason or the rationale o why we're doing these things, at least ito pong homeschooling, madali po tayong, masya-shake, diba? Because it's really not a walk in the park. Mahirap po talaga yung tinahak natin ito, lalo na sa simula. There will be times when we will be doubting our capabilities. May mga parang questions na tayong maiisip dyan, tama ba to or hindi? But then, if you know your why, everything will follow, no? Magiging mas madali. Pag nahihirapan na tayo, just go back to that why. Identify. I challenge you, our dear parents, to really identify your why. At least kayo pong mag-asawa. Bakit ninyo to pinili? And we have differences dun sa whys natin. But I hope, my dear parents, that your why is deeper than this pandemic. Because as we all know, homeschooling is truly an advocacy. So ito pong homeschooling na to ay talagang hindi lang isang choice dahil sa gusto nating protektahan yung mga anak natin from the bullies outside, no? Kasi we cannot always do that, di ba? So there will be times na talagang iisipin natin, did we choose the right decision for our kids? So our dear parents, I hope and I pray that once this pandemic is over and when we see each other, there will be a big smile on our faces, and then we say to each other that, Teacher Bridge, home is school. So our dear parents, again, maraming salamat for sticking around. Dear teachers, no, maraming salamat for doing an overtime also. I know you're just until 4:30. Thank you for being with me today. Maraming salamat. At ayaw po kasi namin na hindi namin mailatag yung mga bagay na gusto namin ilatag para nang sa ganun ay we can further work together to still give your children that quality education that they deserve. So again, maraming salamat, and we are looking forward to meeting each one of you in person pagtapos na po tong pandemic na to. If you have any questions, please feel free to send us a message. Marami po tayong mga communication channels na pwede po nating i-reach. There's Teacher Bridget's email address, And then nandun po yung please add po yung ating MDSF support group. Iba po to sa page natin. So ito po ay yung page po natin na to ay exclusive lang po para sa ating mga officially enrolled. Please do share your best practices na pang-boost din ng confidence dun sa mga homeschooling families na meron tayo. Magkakasama po tayo. We are in this together. Again, thank you very much and we'll see you.